iDubbbz just came all over Ethan Klein, and millions have flocked to see it.
Pause.
Now, this is true. H3, Ethan Klein, iDubbbz has gone as far as to make a comeback to one of his series that was well regarded in its time, Content Cop. He's back as the Content Cop. Now, Mr. iDubbbz Chauvin over here has decided to target Ethan Klein. And we're going to need to figure out why by reacting to it today, watching this millions of views video, 3.5 million views in a day, which is big for iDubbbz because his career has tanked. I mean, who has heard of an iDubbbz video being discussed this widely in recent time? Other than the Froggy Fresh thing from, a little bit back, but that was about iDubbbz being weak and, whipped. So we're going to figure out, is iDubbbz still weak and whipped? Or is he actually onto something here? Is he spitting? Is bro's writing actually fire? What do you think, Mr. Greg?
I would think at some point he would be spitting because, most people try to avoid spit, but, sometimes you got something in your throat. You really got to get it out, So at some point he would be spitting. That's what I think.
All right. I got my Tropicana here. OJ.
I just finished a coconut Red Bull, and I've got my alcoholic cookie. We're back.
You hard R. I was in the middle of talking.
Yes.
I was going to say, I'm probably going to drink through a substantial amount of this today. Even though that large gulp I just took of it actually was pretty filling compared to what I thought it would be in that second, but it's probably going to fade very quickly. I'm probably going to feel like taking another one very soon. Anyway, but this is very volume filled. It's voluminous. Can I say voluminous to mean volume?
I think that's right.
Anyway, we're going to see iDubbbz when he came all over Ethan Klein. We're going to see if he had any valid points. But iDubbbz, the thing is, I did some research before this, some substantial research. I searched on YouTube to look if you had unprivated or I guess unlisted, republicized your old Content Cops that you had put on unlisted. This is bro's words right here. Put on unlisted because you just felt like the times were different. You just felt like you weren't being sensitive enough to certain groups. You felt like saying say was a little too far, even though in your original Content Cop, you had discussed that it's either all okay or none of it's okay. But you've taken back that position. You decided to pretend like, you are some incredibly, righteous guy that's doing the right thing and always had these sensibilities, but at the time just didn't realize what he was talking about. That he never held these positions. That he has a woman by his side that is so great of a woman, so influential that he had to take her last name. He had to take her last name. It's a real story. He had to take her last name. He did. So great that he missed his friend, Max, his wedding. He missed his wedding because of her. I think it was her getting the tattoo. That's what people were saying. It was a tattoo appointment. It was either her or him. But basically, they were saying she didn't allow him to go.
That actually happened?
Imagine. This is what I was reading about. I mean, I could look it up right now to verify if you want me to. Give the but anyway, he did miss the wedding. Let's see. Tattoo wedding. Because
that's crazy, bro.
Anissa was getting a back tattoo done and needed to be there for her. And they had to film a podcast episode. This is on r/Filthy Frank.
I mean, she's already got a bunch more. Isn't one more really that big of a deal?
I mean, this whole thing was a controversy at the time.
When was this?
That seems to be the story. That seems to be the story, huh?
When was this?
This was end of 2023. I'm just seeing that's when all the posts are from.
Gotcha.
But this is what all the people are saying. This is what the whole story was.
The hubbub.
The hubbub. Hold on. Let me open a Twitter thing. But anyway, he wasn't present at Max's wedding, and you would think that if it were for his own control, if he was in control, don't you think he wouldn't have missed it? Having been friends with the man for so long, having done, I mean, honestly, influential, we could say, YouTube videos in comedy, showing that you can just do fuck shit and get views. Did you forget about that, iDubbbz? Go back to your roots. But no, you won't. It's over for you. It's done. It's over. Can you reclaim yourself with this video? I don't think so. I don't think so. Because if so, your Tana Mongeau video, or Tana Mojo, whatever it is, Content Cop, would be uploaded without somebody having to have it re-uploaded. It would just still be there. Or you would have put it back up. Why would you come back to the series having had these negative associations with it now when you didn't in the past, having made stances that you would no longer agree with, but then you return to the series to talk about this man in what we may see to be a view-mongering light, a clickbaity light, perhaps some sort of positions you take that perhaps wouldn't seem so good if we looked into them anymore, which we did do a podcast episode on Ethan Klein, having had people, including Denims, supporting CPS going to his home to investigate what was going on in his home with his children, because he was saying simply that he was concerned that because his dog had diarrhea and he was cleaning it up, he didn't want his children getting any sickness from that, especially his baby. And Ethan Klein, I mean, apparently people started spreading the idea that, and it was leftists that did not like the fact that Ethan had one slight disagreement. He's not like, the bro is pro-Palestine. Okay. He's not even like anti-Palestine. It was the position that, there are certain things that aren't too far to do that are physical actions. Ethan just had the position that you should not cross that threshold. Other people on that side said you should, to the point where they got so enraged, right? They got so enraged, be their positions as they may, but I guess maybe you could take it from their positions that perhaps they're prone to other aspects of messing with people's lives when they don't match what they want them to say. They had CPS called on him. They supported it to investigate what was going on. They wanted the children, they supported the idea that the children could be interviewed by the CPS agent, pulled out of the classroom to be asked about their parents, because apparently kids don't remember any of that, even though, obviously any parent would not want their kids to have a negative experience like that. That's just easy to say as a parent, and it's 100% true. So, obviously, apparently, Ethan Klein's the devil here. We need to all come after him. I wonder what we're going to see in this Content Cop. What do you think, Greg?
Cop.
The hell are you saying? Bro sounds like he has a mouthful of popcorn. But anyway, the thing is, we also saw the Minecraft movie this past weekend, a week late compared to everybody else. We did review the whole theater explosions, but we'll get back to that after we have taken a deep dive into this, because we want to take a look at the good stuff first. We want to take a look at the good stuff, folks, and then we might get to some shit on Twitter shit type shit. Let's take a look at this shit. Content Cop. Let's see if there was some sort of racial targeting here. All right, let's see.
Racial?
Well, iDubbbz is like the Derek Chauvin of YouTube, so.
Anyway. I'm just saying, never mind.
Okay, so we're actually going to take a look at this, though. Jokes aside, we are going to watch this, folks. Let me turn off my camera here so we can watch this clearly.
Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. Shit, you should go back to the main thing.
What?
I was going to make a big reveal, but it's all right.
What do you mean the main thing?
There we go.
Well, you should have made that clearer because I didn't know what the hell you were talking about.
I am eating a cookie with alcohol. I don't know how that's an excuse, but it is.
Okay, let's get to this.
Just like the best of or something. Like, what the fuck?
Destination, the beach is surprisingly dangerous. Consider the fucking thing in our defense. Like, actually, Hila's not a baby killer. Actually, accusing Ethan of killing his dog is maybe too far, because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group that anybody who says any fucking thing, they will attempt to ruin their lives. And once again, I'm the crazy one. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people.
And notice how he starts it on that same thing that we were just talking about. That Ethan was upset that these people called CPS on his kids when he had not said anything that he was actually doing wrong on stream. When he was talking on stream, literally, he was saying that he was trying to keep his home clean so that, you know, his children weren't affected by that. But I mean, obviously, just animals get sick and you have pets, and what are you going to do? Just like I don't know necessarily what they expected them to do, because it wasn't as if like they had just like actually left feces all over the floor for days on end or something. Like they were actually being careful about this. I mean, you know, it literally just seems like this whole thing is not about what Ethan, you know, did at his home, you know, but apparently this is what iDubbbz wants to start on. So apparently he's setting the stage that it's going to be about that. Let's see.
What we do here is go back.
Look at me, I'm all cool and tattooed. Yeah, this is not even like, you know, maybe back in the day, iDubbbz, this could have had some humor, but usually he used to be doing something in the intro other than just getting, I mean, obviously it's a return, so he's getting dressed, but like there would have probably been something else other than that, right?
Like shooting stuff.
I mean, just even like going outside of your home, bro. Like, I mean, just, you know, just sitting there changing and then doing these wacky poses. Haha, look at me. It's, you know, it's not hitting, man.
I don't know, man. It could be kind of like an Incredibles thing where he's like getting back his mojo. What? So it's like humorous, but kind of a nod back at the classic.
It's like what though? It's what was the first few words of that?
The Incredibles.
Oh, I see. I couldn't hear you say that because I was listening, so it was kind of like muffled for me. I mean, it would be more interesting if he had like a punching bag or something, maybe, even if it didn't look like, because I guess the part of the joke is like, oh, it's kind of lame. But if he was like just making like ineffective hits on the punching bag, I felt like it would have played better than the air stuff for the most part, because it's just kind of drawn out. I mean, like some of the getting dressed stuff is still like, I guess, interesting. But I mean, come on, this is not a return worthy video right here.
I mean, it just started. Well, let's see what happens.
I mean, the execution is just not great for what it is. I feel like that could have been a lot funnier right there with the cigarettes and the alcohol.
Where is he? Is this like his actual home?
Yeah, I don't know, man. He might be
rented out.
It's like a lodge. It's like a lodge.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, I had to flex the money.
Because I mean, like, if you see videos of him like when he's streaming, you don't see it looking like that.
What's up, everybody? I'm Hassan Piker in this Awesome broadcast coming to you
Hassan Piker
live from a cloudy day here in California, Los Angeles. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and NBs are having a fantastic moment.
The NBs, the boys, girls, and the NBs.
It's a beautiful day. I have a very important announcement. I finally done it. I watched Ethan Klein's content nuke, and I'm not going to call it context puke as I normally do, because The reality of the matter is, it was brilliant. Nothing was out of context. Everything was correct. I am an Islamist, fundamentalist, radical terrorist. I am a vicious anti-Semite. It's true. Most importantly, Ethan is more attractive than me, both physically and also mentally. I've been lying about everything, including my glasses. They're fake. He was right about that. That's not even in the...
I mean, Hassan Piker, like, doesn't he look like he aged like a shit ton since we last saw him? Okay, apparently Mr. Greg is muted over there.
Content nuke. And he was right about that too. How did he know everything? How?
I was going to say, I do not keep up with Hassan enough
Wake
to
up.
really give an opinion on that. He looks the same to me.
Bro just looks like he's been he looks like he's been through I don't want to say what he's been through, but he's been through it, yeah.
Okay.
Ethan, wake up, Ethan. Ethan,
One Piker went to summer camp.
wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan.
Haha, dude, I'm allying with the guy that is against you right now. Look at me. I did that back in the day too. And I was like with those other guys when I had fucking PewDiePie in my video and fucking whatever.
You had whatever.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up.
He had whatever?
No, fucking like Boy in a Band or whatever the fuck that guy's name was.
No, that'd be cool if he had Brian.
No, he didn't have whatever. I was just, it's an exaggeration, or it's a fucking, what is the word?
Whatever.
It's not meant to be taken literal. It's not meant to be
Well,
taken literal.
It should be literal, because if it wasn't meant to be taken literal, then I would have the same conclusion. Okay.
Time to be awake, Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
Ah ha ha, it's the fucking chick that wanted you fucking having CPS show up to your house. Where is she? Can't even find her.
Was Ethan is more in the content nuke. Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Time to be awake, Ethan.
Wake
Yeah, this retarded chick.
up, Ethan.
This is no longer a dream. This is a nightmare. Wake up.
Ethan, the dumb bitch is telling you to wake up.
Wake up.
Yeah, you are a dumb bitch.
Ethan, wake up.
Who the hell is this? Jesus Christ. I was not ready for that.
Ethnic officers over here.
Ethnic overload.
Wake up, Ethan. Ethan,
Ethnic overload.
wake up. Wake
I don't even know who that guy was, honestly.
up. Soon to anyone?
I'll take a Zin. I will take a Zin.
Just wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up. Wake up, Ethan.
I'm not gonna do a react content yet, chat.
I'm the same. Nobody's told you to wake up, Ethan.
Ooh, yummy. I love Sabra.
Yeah, I could tell you fucking like hummus, you fat ass.
Wake up, Ethan.
Ethan.
Pause. What the bro? Bro, why would you do that? Okay, so I don't even know who like two out of the five of these people are. I know the fucking big ones, of course, Hassan Piker and Ian, but that Denim's chick I only know because of the Ethan situation, actually. And the other two, these are nobodies to me. I'm referencing Mr. Beast. And it's not even a Chris joke.
All right. I didn't plan on making a content cop on H3. It sounds very stupid even saying that. H3 content cop, iDubbbz. Ethan Klein's out of control. And then you should do a content cop on Hassan Piker.
What does the British accent have anything to do with this? This is like Reddit humor. Just bringing out the fucking British accent for no reason.
Hold on. maybe he's taking a stance against I got to choose my words carefully here, against the island known as Britain, which is a good thing.
I mean, that would be great, but I don't see the relevance. I mean, he's like, dude, his humor is so washed. Bro is so washed. He's like this is hold on. This is like fucking this is 2015, 2016, 2017 humor that has not evolved whatsoever. And not only that, it's literally just not applicable to what he's talking about. I mean, maybe that's what it was like back in the day. Okay, maybe we're not remembering it for how it really was, which somewhat I can remember it somewhat like that. But the problem here is that it's just so poorly executed, not applicable to the things he's trying to say. He's not a funny guy. He used to be, he used to have some comedic relevance. The whole "I'm gay" or "I have osteoporosis," whatever. That stuff was funny when he was with Filthy Frank and Max and shit. But iDubbbz is washed. He is nothing. I have nothing.
I have crippling depression.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I don't.
Content cop on.
You know what? And that whole like Hassan thing with the nails and stuff. It just, dude is literally like, that is woman humor. I'm sure he got his humor from his girlfriend too. With that fucking like Hassan, the fucking what do they call it? Not glamour, or like it's called not zesty. It's I mean it is zesty, but it's called something else. Like yassified. That's what they call it.
H3 content cop, iDubbbz. Ethan Klein's out of control. And then you should do a content cop on Hassan.
Yeah, so that's like a yassified thing where it's like very much like, the whole black aesthetic that, has applied mostly to just, I mean, women in general nowadays because of how culture works right now. But, you have the big lips, the long nails, like, I mean, they even include like black hands here. But yeah, it's just the long eyelashes. Like it literally is just like a downstream thing of that has gotten to Ian to fucking repeat without even like, really having a purpose that would make it funny other than, haha, it's like random.
On Piker, content cop on Sargon of Akkad. If I would imagine this,
that one might have been that was like a better execution of a joke. Even though I still don't know why he has the British accent.
In 2016, I would have been like,
Sargon.
Oh.
Huh?
You can't take down Sargon.
I don't think he can, but I thought that was a better execution of a joke, at least for that image. But
even then, it's not Sargon saying it. It's just like it's like the onlooker saying it. So that still doesn't really make sense for it to be British.
Yeah. Well, I was saying it seemed like the image was relevant to it, even though I can't name the fucking statue, but it seemed like it was more relevant to Sargon.
Well, that is Sargon. That's like the
exactly.
Yeah.
Hold
type
on.
Shit. Hold on.
Akkad.
Hold on. Hold on.
All right.
That it's got to be because I lose the plot. Well, it turns out guys, I'm going to tell you a story about Ethan Klein. I know some of you have been following him, but there's a lot of people who might not be familiar with the background, with his podcast, with what's been going on over the past couple of years. So Ethan, as you know, is a content creator who has a podcast where he says all sorts of outrageous stuff. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's fucked up. He's had shows with all sorts of different controversial characters. He's had a show with Trisha Paytas. He's had Hassan Pike. In doing so, he's gathered a ton of different audiences. Now, in the podcast Hassan Leftovers, they would mostly talk about surface level progressive shit and make fun of right wingers.
You're telling me he didn't flick their dick once at least?
Oh, that's 100 shavers. You trans women. I say, oh no.
And it was mostly that until they actually had to reckon with a very...
Okay, so it was like literally called the Mask of Sargon. I was familiar with the Sargon of Akkad, but I couldn't remember the name of that specific one. I guess that's what it's typically called.
Leftovers?
No, I was talking about the statue.
Oh. Yeah, it's Sargon.
Yeah, the Sargon of Akkad statue. I was trying to like figure out the exact name of it.
It's Sargon.
No, but it's referred to as the Mask of Sargon, or the head of the Akkadian ruler. Obviously, that one is more straightforward, but it's just I couldn't remember like a specific term for the actual, like, if I said it, you'd know I'm talking about the statue.
I mean, if you said Sargon, I would know you're talking about that statue.
Anyway, Humvee's here. What's up, man? We're watching the content cop, as you can see. Ian is in rare form right now, folks.
Serious topic. I would say that Hassan,
I mean, I guess it's not rare form anymore if he's just always like that. But dude, I mean, compared to where he was at before, if we had seen previous Ian, I'm saying the names mixed up. iDubbbz. If we had seen iDubbbz like this back in the day, we would have been like, geez, dude. Jeez.
I was gonna say
was very
the two
well
names
equipped.
are gonna get really confusing. Ethan and Ian.
Yeah, it's too similar.
To talk about that topic.
Palestinian people living in the West Bank are subject to these horrific conditions, horrific living conditions by the state of Israel, America's greatest ally and the only democracy in the Middle East, if you ask Republicans and even liberals.
Well, the dance he invented was okay bad.
Israeli settlers are trying to evict Palestinian families in occupied East Jerusalem. The United Nations says that may be a war crime. It literally is.
It's just eating the toppings. And the pizza looked like a burn victim. It was all disgusting.
I don't know if you can make that joke in 2021.
Why?
It's insensitive to burn victims.
I think it's a good analogy. It's a powerful image.
Ethan was not prepared for this. Ethan, the whole time, is more of the goof guy. And that's fine. You know, we don't expect Ethan to be an expert on the topic. Ethan was obviously caught in this tricky situation where he is extremely sympathetic to the Israeli cause and what's happening to them. His wife's Israeli. She served in the IDF. He obviously likes the state of Israel. On the other hand, he's just got done capturing a massive progressive audience who are very politically savvy. They follow Hassan. Hassan is strictly a political streamer. So this is something they're very keyed into. So when they see Ethan say things that are just like not accurate and it's just propaganda, they're going to call it out.
From the river to the sea essentially means the state of Israel is going bye-bye.
So this massive progressive audience that Ethan has, adopted over the years, they're becoming increasingly critical of his position because now he's talking about it, not on Leftovers. He's now talking about it on his podcast.
What I want to do is show you guys how I see Israel, because you don't see that. When you listen to Hassan and you hear all these fucking mega lefties talking about it like it's some super racist, crazy, like Jim Crow style of society. Like, I can't wait to show you guys.
The other day, Bibi fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
So Ethan is having this back and forth with his liberal audience, leftist people online, progressive content creators, Hassan, all of these different people. He's finding new people every day, basically, to get in fights with.
Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb, Frogan and Denims and all these dipshits. And everybody thinks this guy's awesome, apparently. Even though he looks like Millhouse. Fucking.
That's actually true, though. Come on, that was good.
Dork.
This is better than anything iDubbbz has said this whole time because fucking, that's gotten a laugh from us. Mr. Humvee says, I hate everyone in this video. That's fair.
Likewise.
Denims, by the way, was the real villain of the video.
Not everyone. I'm not anti-Semitic.
Evil, hateful fucking. And I'll say it and I'll double down on it. And people, not go there.
And it's all culminating.
Okay, so we're seeing clips so far. That's what we're getting here. Like the whole, he's saying he's insulting Denims or whatever, and then we're pulling that up, for what? To justify the fact that she supported him getting CPS called on him. I mean, obviously, we could talk about this from the perspective of okay, well, Ethan, he got into this and has these positions because of the audience he's gained. And I can see that as a criticism, but at the same time, it's like, if his position's changing over time rather than just overnight, I mean, that could at least indicate more so that Ethan actually had some sort of change of position or is actually seeing it in a different light and thus willing to express more sentiments that would be more in alignment, which is, I mean, also just something that we should be seeing as, we should be seeing as like it's going to happen that way. Somebody's not necessarily just going to have this eye-open moment of like all of a sudden it's like everything's changed. I literally just see everything different. I had one position yesterday which you would have considered evil, and today I'm great. So I mean, overall, I mean, none of that justifies even so like getting CPS called on children or anything like that. But if there is no situation in which the children are actually being threatened, or you know they're not at risk of any sort of harm. But basically, like, you know, I mean, I can see where this is going as far as what it's going to be justifying, or, you know, how it's being used to attack them. And it just does not seem reasonable. Just flip to jaking it right after saying that.
I'm jaking it. I'm jaking it.
At least for my story, in Ethan burning bridges with people until he burned the bridge with me. Since Ethan and Hassan's falling out, I've been keeping to myself mostly. I don't have many nice things to say. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things eventually.
Calling somebody out is harassment. I mean, did he incite people to go, you know, stalk somebody? Did he tell people, hey, you guys should go like to this person's house? You guys should go like fucking like message this person relentlessly online and tell this person, you know, things that would incite some sort of behavior that would not be seen as something perhaps okay in the eyes of even the law or whatever. You know, this is what people you would usually appeal to. So what exactly are we seeing here that would constitute as some sort of harassment on his end, other than the fact that he's like, I don't like what this person is saying, or this person looks kind of funny, which is funny to point out. If you call somebody Millhouse, whatever, dude, it's fucking entertainment. Ethan's an entertainer. Let's see. We got Bit saying, listen to this during a road trip to DC today. It's odd that this was a content cop, because honestly, it just feels like one of Ian's get off my back kind of videos. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it really, like, we're not even really getting into a cohesive point yet on what Ian is really like trying to get to on here. Just like his major criticism so far is, oh, Ethan is, harassing people, which we have yet to see actual proof of or even evidence. So yeah, it really just kind of seems like guys, this is a whole nothing burger. This whole Ian content cop situation is a whole nothing burger.
Eventually he'll find peace and we can like rekindle our friendship. So that's been my approach. I've occasionally
hold on, let's reverse on that.
Maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace and we can like rekindle our friendship. So that's been my approach. I've occasionally thrown a joke Ethan's way in the form of Hassan Piker versus Ethan Klein for boxing.
I like iDubbbz. He's a good guy, but I don't like this tweet. It's stupid.
Okay, let's see. So iDubbbz's tweet was Creator Clash 3 needs a headline fight. Here are the options: Ethan Klein versus Hassan Piker. Okay, so it's all, well, half of that is literally just, you know, Ethan Klein and Hassan Piker. Piker, sorry. I don't know who Vape Nation. Okay, so that is Ethan actually. Sorry. Yeah, I remember Vape Nation. And Hank Pecker, apparently that's yeah, so it's all just like variations of their own name.
It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like this guy is evil, and he's.
But yeah, this was around the time that I guess like the whole leftovers thing, they split up. And so basically, you know, I can see this is why Ian was trying to get some attention on Twitter for mentioning it, even though I guess like he probably had more close ties to H3 than he ever really did to Hassan Piker. So I could see why Ethan would be kind of like, dude, really? But, you know, at the same time, it's like I think Ethan should also understand that iDubbbz himself, even though we could use the term more loosely now because iDubbbz's content isn't good anymore, that he's an entertainer too, which, I mean, to what kind of audience, I don't even know, but other than Redditors. But basically, like, because of that, I could see this as being like, this could very well be just, I mean, like it's a joke tweet from how it seems, unless he could imply that iDubbbz has some sort of position from this, or I guess deduce that iDubbbz has some sort of like position against him on this.
I think the issue is that Ethan sees it as him like stirring the pot even more and kind of making light of it, when in the clip he said there, he doesn't even see it as like a petty beef. He says that Hassan is like an evil guy, basically. So clearly there's a distinction in perception on the actual situation here. But I mean, honestly, if I were in the same position, I'd probably do something like that too, because I like messing with people.
Trolling. We like a little trolling. Let's see. Bit says,
do a little trolling.
In all honesty, most of the video is pretty charitable for what he's trying to get across. It just feels fucking weird for that opening with Hassan and crew. Yeah, I don't know who some of those people even are. And it just didn't even seem like what was the point of that? Like, oh, you're going to get called out for harassing us. Let's see. Bit says, I won't spoil anything. Though not a bad watch through. KJM067 says it's all Ethan versus Hassan. Yeah, it just doesn't even seem like iDubbbz is really like a part of this, or like he really has much to say on it that isn't already said by Hassan. I just don't even see how like it doesn't even seem like this beef between them is really something that affects the content space enough for iDubbbz to even be like, this is why I'm doing a content cop. This is why I'm calling somebody out. This is why this needs to stop. You know, it's like when back in the day, even when he was, and this was like toward the end of the content cops, when he was calling out like those kids channels, like the toy channels and stuff like that, where basically he was saying like, this stuff isn't good for kids to watch. It's brain rot, you know, all that. And, at least at the time, he was making some sort of point with these videos, or like with Tana Mojo, however you say that, whatever. Greg keeps insisting it's Mojo.
That's how people say it, dude.
It's Monjo or something like that. That's what it looks like.
I'm not a fucking frog, man.
Dude, you can't take French pronunciations of anything. It's guillotine. It's Monjo. You know, it's, these are how you say the dude. Okay. Well, anyway.
Nigga, I looked it up. It's fucking guillotine, and I will die on that hill.
It's okay. You're part African.
Jesus Christ.
I'm part African. I can say it.
I'm part Jamaican.
What did he say he was? South African? Or what did the guy say?
Jamaican.
He said he was Jamaican, the Burger King guy?
Yeah, that's what I thought
he said African.
Also, I didn't say the R. Just saying. I got up.
No, that was a glitch in the system.
Correct. Anyway, what I was saying is, in English, we speak English. We don't speak like a goddamn frog. That's my whole point.
Let's see. Hold on. So, Creators Clash 3 is on June 28th of this year. Somebody actually commented here. Let's see. Yeah, KJM is saying to promote Ian's dying Creator Clash. Humvee says, is Greg's picture from Yu-Gi-Oh or Digimon?
It's clearly Yu-Gi-Oh, bro. You don't know Time Wizard?
Let's see. KJM, Hassan is being anti-Semitic towards him, and Ian wants to make it a fight.
Can we say that?
Let's see. He anti-Semitic. Let's see. He doesn't like the grays. Let's see. So KJM says Keem had a good point too, where it's basically Ethan versus the Twitch streamers. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, whoa. I wonder what that was too.
It was definitely delayed.
Yeah. I don't know who Daniel's talking to. Are you saying like, you know, you're saying, I think you got a warped view of the past, my guy. I don't know if that's like, I don't know if that's to me remembering it more fondly as far as iDubbbz's content or what. I don't know.
I was going to say, I don't think the argument that his older content cops were actually tackling serious issues is necessarily valid, because the way YouTube works is if you're not in a certain space, you really don't get exposed to anything like that. So like Leafy, yeah, you could argue that he was a shitbag or whatever, but most people aren't getting exposed to that aren't already craving that content. You can make the same case for like Rice Gum, Tana Mojo, whoever. I mean, I think the better aspect of it was when he was like pointing out creators that would have a younger audience. And so, you know, obviously, yeah, those kids are going to be watching these kinds of things sort of independent of, you know, as much reason as an adult would have. So I could see the case being like, if you're pointing out somebody that has an older fan base, it's like, okay, so what, you know, maybe you're making content that sucks, or that, you know, is somehow like getting people to keep paying you money for shit that you're not even really delivering much on. But I mean, at that point, it's just a group of adults paying you for what they want. So, and mind you, well, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so I could see that you could still have a criticism of it. You could still be like, well, you know, you're not really giving value for whatever service you're saying you're providing. But I mean, I think if it's kids who obviously just don't have that same state of mind as we do, it's a lot more valid of a criticism. And that was things like Tana Mongeau and Rice Gum and you know, the kids' toy channel, stuff like that.
I don't know, man. Because like, first of all, it's not gone away. It's the same shit with like any other one of that kind of niche of content creators. And for the most part, as long as they're not getting scammed or promoting gambling or whatever, which granted a lot of them do, it's not the worst thing in the world, because that's just kind of what attracts kids at this point in time. So I don't know. Like, you can still criticize them, but I mean,
let's see. KJM said Content Cop worked 10 years ago. No one cares now because it's a lot of MAGA shit where you can just lie about anybody. How do you mean? Like, you know, you're saying like basically, I don't see how that's exclusive to MAGA. I'm trying to figure that one out. Are you saying like Twitter? Or I don't know. Because I don't think that's like YouTube. Like if we're talking about the YouTube space, it's like kind of mixed on who's saying what.
it seems a lot more segmented now. That's the other thing. Like the drama. Now I know I just kind of got done saying like if you stick to one side of YouTube, you're not going to get the other stuff. But back in the day, I think that was less of the case. Now it's really been ramped up. Like if you only watch cooking videos on YouTube, you're not going to get anything else really. But if you watch like, you know, career YouTubers that are like known to be YouTubers, I don't really know how you say it. Like let's say if you watch a Jake Paul video, then you're more likely to stumble upon, I don't know, an iShowSpeed or whatever the fuck his name is video. That I can see it, but now it's like even more segmented. So even if he does attack like some kind of like drama thing, it's not really as like impactful, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
KJM is saying reinforce it enough and the idiots believe it. And he's saying, or he, I don't know if it's a he or what, but you know, usually audience is male. He's saying AKA MAGA.
That's kind of true.
I mean, yeah, I can see that, but like, I really think like, I mean, it kind of applies to most aspects of politics these days, especially when it's like a mainstream political perspective. Like it's just literally, they all parrot whatever they're told by their political party or faction.
You're telling me that Trump supporters don't actually look into the claims that are made by Mr. Trump? Well,
yeah, I mean, they believe whatever he says, honestly. I mean, it's true a lot of the time.
American.
Yeah. Let's see. So let's see. Daniel MN, there was never value in my opinion. The new video is him trying to be political or grow up, whatever you want to say. I think I'm hella behind here. Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, even at the time, like, yeah, sure, there was like an entertainment aspect to it. That's kind of like the main purpose of why he even creates content. But I mean, I would say like, I guess the value you could extrapolate from that still is that obviously you're just kind of like, if there is a younger audience of that person, which let's say like Keemstar, I guess is one of the examples I could point to. I'm sure there's a lot of younger people that could watch both of them and then kind of like see the problem with like what iDubbbz had with Keemstar, where he's like saying, oh, this video is a problem for this reason. And if they see those points as valid, they could be like, oh yeah, well, he's kind of right. I don't want to watch this stuff that Keemstar makes, which, you know, I don't know, but like a kid's toy channel kind of thing. Best case scenario, you get somebody that's like a younger parent watching iDubbbz. And then they see that and they're like, maybe I shouldn't show my kid this. You know, it's not really going to be like a 5-year-old or 3-year-old seeing iDubbbz's video. Stuff like that, you know. Maybe the Tana Mongeau thing was a little more, I mean, I honestly think that was like one of the most significant content cops other than the Leafy one, obviously. But like the Tana Mongeau one, I mean, he obviously made a point that was like, I mean, pretty good, right? That, you know, that he rescinds now, but basically that like, this is an arbitrary rule as far as like what you're supposed to say. And then you'll have people that are hypocritical about, and literally this just applies to him now because he said it at the time and now he's acting like, oh, it's actually bad to say, but whatever. But basically the point being is like Tana had said it before and he's calling her out and he's like, oh, well, you're like so sensitive about it now, despite having said it, and you knew what it meant, even though you were trying to claim that you didn't. So, I mean, honestly, like it just, I guess you could still say the same for iDubbbz because even if he's like, oh, it was wrong of me to say it, it's like, well, you should have known the argument in the opposite end of like the historical context of the word, if that's going to be your argument against it, right? If that's part of your supporting claim as to why you don't use it, then obviously you should have been acknowledging that when you were determining whether or not it's okay to say. Right? Whether or not words in general are okay to say or not, which at the time you believed well, it should either all be okay or none of it's okay. Like we shouldn't just have these emotional reactions to words to this insane degree where we're going to justify some sort of violent action or some sort of other sort of cancellation, like, just like telling this person you can't have a job here anymore, or like something like that, like ruining your social life over the use of a word, regardless of the context. Just like, it's just, oh, well, you say it. I mean, like obviously some people may say, oh, well, we're not talking about literally just saying it, but a lot of people are. But on the other side, it could still be like, you're saying it as a joke. That's completely different than like the usage of it towards somebody that didn't do something that would warrant it if there is a situation that does. I'm just saying, depending on what the word is. We're obviously not applying that to a specific word here, even though that's about a word. But you get my point.
Word.
It's hard to explain this when you can't say the word itself on YouTube. You know that? So if I were able to... If I were able to say the words, which we wouldn't have this conversation otherwise, right? We wouldn't be having this conversation if this wasn't a thing. But
Which
basically,
word are you talking about?
I can't tell how serious you're being. But anyway, we're just going to get back to this. We're going to get back to this because you just interrupted with your, I can't even say the word.
Doing anti-Semitism. And also he's way out of my weight class.
He didn't like that, but fucking sometimes you gotta just throw something out there.
Funny burp. It wasn't even like well placed, honestly. I could see a burp having some sort of comedic effect, but the timing is just off, man. Again, rare form.
I used to work with this video editor named Froggy Tonic. I discovered him because he was in the circles online that I was in. And one of those circles is an H3 fan. He watched Ethan's content. He liked Ethan's content until he didn't like Ethan's content. There would be an occasional Froggy tweet where I'd be like, I agree with that. Like, I'm not going to endorse it. I'm not going to retweet it or
All right, let's see. Ethan Klein, do you really think putting yourself, your crew, and your audience in a semantic competition over a petty year-old I'm right, you're wrong obsession you cannot get over is the right strategy? Stop tormenting yourself, man. Listen to this on. Is the tweet being said there by Mr. Froggy Tonic?
like it, but fair enough.
I guess I just missed my old friend. Some wings are too bird feathered colored.
Now that brings us to February 28th of this year. Now, my former editor of a year and a half ago did say some truly mean shit. He called Hila the C word. He said they're trying to kill their dog with cheddar cheese and a bunch of other shit, I'm sure. Ethan, at some point, discovers that iDubbbz' former editor says this horrendous shit about him and Hila. But no one's asking the question, where does Ethan get this information from? You see, it would be very obviously a problem if Ethan was discovering this content
what?
By scrolling through Twitter looking for something that
what is happening?
himself with. He has maybe set it up in such a way where his employees feel the need
Hold on. Can we just stop for a sec? What kind of comment or post gets you a feed like that as a reaction? That's what I want to know.
Great question.
Even if you go to the darkest depths of like Twitter, I've never seen something like that. That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't even know, man. I'm going to turn it on 1.25 because I feel like iDubbbz is taking forever to yap about this.
Would be horrible. They shouldn't be doing that. They should be sending you things that are entertaining for your show that don't fucking trigger the hell out of you. Why is there so much work being put into discovering this guy on Twitter who's barely getting any interactions, linking him to me and posting on the Reddit, when there's no work being put into who the fuck is the person on the Reddit who's posting this in the first place? If you do a little bit of research, it seems like it's an account whose intention is to make Ethan crash out.
I didn't know iDubbbz was missing a tooth. Is he missing a tooth outright? That's just curiosity here.
There's no work being put into who the fuck is the person on the Reddit who's posting this in the first place. If you do a little bit of research, it seems like it's an account.
Oh, it's like a... Oh, I thought it was missing. It's just like a gold or silver tooth.
Whose intention is to make Ethan...
Dude is like, every time you see him, he's doing some sort of body modification. It's always like another tattoo. Or like fucking like, you know, now it's like a gold tooth or whatever it is.
Crash out. One of the users on the Snark Reddit points this out. They're like, I've seen this account before. This account has scraped its history, and it's now trying to make Ethan burn bridges. This is within Ethan's own community. Like, this is the thing that he needs to be critical of. It's not me. So yes, I am willing to admit that my former editor was being very nasty, uncharitable, and fucked up towards Ethan and Hila on Twitter.
So you had a former editor that was saying these things. Somebody on Reddit posts those things. I'm not seeing necessarily that those things were doctored because you're saying this guy was saying these things. He was your editor, but he's just trying to put it to Ethan to make Ethan cut ties with you. I would take it as the whole complaint here. But I mean, like, these things were actually said. He was actually your editor. I feel like, obviously some more due care should be taking place, or maybe he should contact you or something. I could see that as to why you'd, feel a type of way about this happening. Because obviously, like, he's not you. It's your editor. I get it. It would depend on whether, you're still employing him after the fact, if you really had these associations that you wanted to keep with Ethan, but I don't know, man. It's, it seems like this is still kind of like nothing here, really. Like, as far as like, what does this have to do with Ethan's content, though? I mean, like, unless he's like talking about this all the time on stream or something, and I'm missing that because I don't watch Ethan's streams.
But Ethan and Hila are doing the same shit on their podcast. So I don't want to fucking hear it.
Terrorist supporter.
The CEO of Twitch.
Pedophile.
Now I'm going to watch and...
I mean, I don't even like have the context for those clips. Like, I could, and also it's like, I don't know if iDubbbz is the one doing the circle effect where he's putting Ethan in there. I'm not saying Ethan didn't say those things. I don't know. That's the whole point. I don't know. I can't know unless I find the context of them, aside from one word at a time, where I'm unsure what's being said or if he really said it over that image. I don't know. I mean, obviously I could do my own research. I could try to do my own research, but like, this is kind of like, as far as if you're making an hour-long video about somebody, don't you think you just throw in the whole, like, at least 10 seconds or something where I can see something being said in the original context without editing it all? You would think that I could see this so that I could make my own judgment about what he's saying. But it seems more manipulative when you're cutting out one word at a time, just so that we can have this negative connotation toward Ethan. I'm not even trying to be here to say like Ethan's some sort of creator that I love watching, and I still watch him, and like I agree with everything he says. But it just doesn't even seem like good practice for this to be how you're making your content, cop. It just doesn't.
Respond to the two podcast streams where Ethan and Hila call us spineless cowards.
Anyway, this guy was saying shit like that Hila was a Nazi, that she kills kids, that she went on like she's like a IDF baby killer, all this types of shit. And that's showing up right up on us Nisa's and iDubbbz feed. My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
You don't know what's on my feed. What the fuck is happening? For all you know, I only use the For You tab. For all you know, I only use lists. For all you know, I'm seeing these things tweeted out by my editor of a year and a half ago and saying, God, that is nasty. I'm just not going to throw someone away because they're having a parasocial weird moment. Just like I'm not going to throw Ethan Klein away because he's having a parasocial weird crash out.
How many women I fucked? Hassan, by the way, thousands. Yeah, thousands. Let me ask Galia.
Yeah, well, I would wonder if iDubbbz would have the same reaction if it was about Anissa. If there were somebody out there saying something about Anissa, right? Doesn't this sound kind of familiar? Froggy Fresh? Sam Hyde? Doesn't it sound kind of familiar that, maybe you wouldn't want to throw away a sort of a bridge you have with somebody, or do something irrational or without proper judgment because your girlfriend got offended by what somebody said? Seems kind of like it's a bit of an inconsistency. I'm not seeing necessarily how he's being consistent here. I mean, just like he is being inconsistent by not having his old content cops up, but yet continuing the series as if he's, just here to call people out, whereas it's clearly about not doing that. If it was at one point, it's not now. Is all I'm saying.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I will say you're going to be a lot more inclined to go out of your way to defend someone if it's someone you've been inside physically. That's all I'm saying.
But now he's calling out Ethan for doing that. Now he's calling out Ethan for doing that when he did it himself.
For defending his wife?
Well, because the editor was calling Hila a cunt. And iDubbbz was basically saying, like, if Ethan's going to start calling people out, it doesn't really make much sense to do this over some guy. He's saying his editor having some sort of parasocial moment, basically insulting Ethan and Hila, is what I was understanding. And, you know, just jumping to a conclusion on what iDubbbz is seeing or interacting with or agreeing with, having employed this man. But the whole point was that Ethan was seeing his wife insulted by the employee of his friend, or at least some sort of, relationship these guys have. And then basically iDubbbz is saying, well, I wouldn't jump to, burning a bridge over this, just like I wouldn't jump to burning a bridge over somebody having some sort of crash out. But he did jump to burning a bridge over somebody saying something about Anissa with the whole Froggy Fresh situation.
I don't know. There's I see what you're saying, but I don't know if it's really the same thing entirely. I don't know. Maybe there's more context I'm missing.
Okay. I'm just saying it's hypocritical is all.
Moderately, yeah.
Choose to not go. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Hassan's the type of dude who watches himself in the mirror when he has sex.
Watching me on a
well, that wasn't such a bad joke there.
30-second delay on your stream.
Wait, that's what I'm. Wait, how does he know I'm watching already?
Because you've been talking about it for the last 5 minutes.
Jesus, this is like Inception here. That frame was like Inception. Okay, so you're putting a clip of Ethan mocking the way some other guy dresses when he's an entertainer. Again, it's like apparently Ethan can't even do his job, which like fucking iDubbbz used to do anyway, but apparently those things aren't cool to do anymore, even though it's funnier than what iDubbbz is doing, if I'm being real, at least from what I'm seeing in these clips. It's funnier than what iDubbbz is doing.
It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism.
I mean, I guess that's like fair if you're saying this isn't a petty beef and then he's showing a clip of him like insulting the guy in a comedic way. I mean, that's a fair criticism, I guess, but it's like clearly, I mean, like, I guess we could point out the kind of ridiculousness on both ends. Like if Ethan considers this to not be a petty beef, then I don't know when this clip was necessarily compared to that, because we're not getting dates or anything printed on here. So I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to know this information, but because I can't verify it right now. I can't just go verify because I don't know where these are from. These are sourced from. I would like to have sources or some way of verifying that this, information is, valid the way iDubbbz is framing it to us. But I mean, if Ethan's saying, yeah, this is a petty beef, and then he's like mocking the dude's shoes and stuff, which is, I mean, it's entertaining and funny. But if he's saying it's not just about some petty beef and there's a serious issue, I mean, I could see why you would want to handle it in a manner that you're just not even like discussing the person, or you're only calling them out for things that would be relating to that, like not pettiness of the beef. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I mean, I don't have the dates for this again. Like it's not really great as far as that, but also just like, I don't know, man. It just seems like iDubbbz is doing a bunch of like nitpicks here on this, because it really just doesn't even seem like back in the day he actually had some more like overall criticisms of people. Now he's trying to find like any little inconsistency he can find with Ethan, even if he himself shares an inconsistency, to say, oh, look at it, what Ethan's doing, man, this is terrible. It's just not good content. This is just not good content. Not good criticisms, like not the best. Some I could see better than others, but it's just not great, guys.
These shoes do not go. I'm sorry.
There are many people, I'm sure, who have unfollowed you for the things that you've said and done. And I'm sure there are even more people who have stayed following you because they don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. They don't want to throw someone away because they've had some hard moments. We're all fucking human.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
And what you're saying to me is that I'm a bad friend and I'm a piece of shit. I'm spineless. I'm cowardly because I am following someone on Twitter.
Because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people harassing me and everyone in my life.
I really want to make a joke right now about
we're already on thin ice.
but come on.
No.
Come on. It has to be said.
It cannot be said. It really
It has to be said.
Next episode, bring it back. Not this one.
It's that people outside of this group, journalists, creators are actively participating in this gaslighting to make it seem like I'm fucking crazy.
I mean, I don't know what he's getting at here. Like, yeah, people are gaslighting you. A lot of
I don't know if that clip, sir, like was circa the time that I know I was saying circa when it just happened, when Ethan had like CPS called on him and stuff. I don't know. But if it was, that would be a lot more valid of a reaction, especially with the fact that, like, you know, he feels like he's being attacked from all angles at that point, as opposed to maybe a time where that wasn't happening and this may seem like an overreaction of sorts.
Yeah.
You know? And I really want to say something about that after that, but I can't.
Everything's jumbled and like it's kind of just like in this weird vacuum where you don't know what's happened in relation to this. So it's kind of hard to take it at face value. So
it's just like really missing so much context that you're unable to like piece anything together properly, and you kind of just have to go with what iDubbbz is saying or not. Like you either have to go with the fact that it's like, oh yeah, I mean he's being truthful in everything he's saying, and this stuff actually isn't out of context, or you can say, well, I mean I just don't know anything about it. You can't really say like I know these things are in context, I know they aren't, unless, you know, because there's no evidence pointing to one way or the other.
Yeah, like he unless he was making comments where it wasn't dependent on some other kind of context, but it's kind of hard to do that because so much shit has happened.
Right.
So it's like, at best, if you're being honest, at least so far, I don't know if something more damning shows up, you get like a, okay, that was kind of weird, but maybe I got to look into it more kind of impression. That's it.
Yeah.
people gaslit me when I apologized. That was actually like the #1 type of harassment I got, was people gaslighting me and taking my newfound woke ideology to its extreme.
I've probably done and stood by iDubbbz and Anissa more than anybody. I've stood by them when all the internet hated them.
I don't like that Ethan brought this up because it makes the relationship feel very transactional. Like, you know, we're just meant to support each other online despite our own personal morals or principles.
But I'll say this, I don't think they're fucking any friends of mine. And certainly I don't think they're any fucking friends of mine based on the text conversation I had with them too before I even talked about it. So I have nothing, like I don't need any fucking halfway friends, man.
I thought the text conversation that I had with him was very empathetic. I basically just said, like, I know you and Hila are experiencing a ton of harassment, and I essentially empathize with that, and I think there's something positive to get out of the conversation. But he refused to talk on the phone unless I was willing to publicly say something about my former editor and denims. As much as you don't want halfway friends, I also don't want that kind of halfway friend. I don't want someone who's going to give me like an ultimatum to have a conversation.
Could you not say something when this is like, imagine like one of you guys is like, Hassan actually wants to go to Israel, go to Gaza so he can strangle Israeli babies.
I mean, like, the thing is, like, if he's, you know, I don't even know about the editor really, like if iDubbbz had seen it before it was like pointed out like that. The whole denim stuff, I could see not necessarily like, you know, having like, you have to go publicly state why you disagree with her, but more of the, like, you know, the fact that they're following each other. And it's kind of like, you know, I could see why you'd be like, well, if you're just going to keep interacting with her as normal, I have a problem with that because of what she was supporting when it came to my kids. And so I could definitely see that as being like, not necessarily like, you know, I guess I could also see why he feels this type of way that Ian didn't really stand up for him, because honestly, like, it's not just about some sort of principle difference in like, I mean, I guess it is about that, but what I really mean is that, like, if iDubbbz's principles aren't that that's not cool behavior, I probably shouldn't be associating with this person, not only because what they did to my friend, but because what it, like, you know, how she is as a person. I mean, I could see Ethan having a moral problem with this alone and saying like, well, if you're really like that, then I couldn't really see myself wanting to interact with you as a friend. I can see that as valid. You know, I don't know how much iDubbbz was aware of the context, but obviously iDubbbz has he should have done his research by this point. And if he still feels that way about it and he doesn't really bring up the fact that he has a problem with her, then I mean, like, especially now would be the time. Then I can see what Ethan's point is, even though I don't think Ethan necessarily, like, I don't think he's being 100% rational here. Like, you know, as far as like, I can see iDubbbz's point in the sense of he doesn't have to just come out and publicly defend him as soon as anything happens. But I mean, just at the same time, like, this sort of what iDubbbz perceives as neutrality in the issue is a problem because of how other actors are in the situation that kind of, like, if anything, makes him seem a little bit biased against Ethan.
Yes.
For some shit like that, I'd be like, you imagine me not saying something.
You're trying to make a one-to-one comparison where there isn't one. This guy that I follow on Twitter is not in the same relationship as you and one of your current employees who is streaming with you 3 days a week, 3 hours a day for the past 10 years. At one point during the stream, Ethan and Hila bring up Adam McIntyre. Now, Adam does basically the same thing as my former editor. He's critical of Ethan and Hila, and he is sometimes uncharitable and nasty towards them.
Adam McIntyre needs to just like disappear. That guy is a
Whoa, was that a threat?
That did
piece of
not
shit,
sound
like,
good.
of the lowest order.
That really did not sound
that
good.
ain't right. That ain't right.
That boy
I never
ain't
even
right.
stood by him when he talked bad about Trisha having a kid and called him like the spawn of Satan. He was supposedly on our
You know, and like notice how in both situations, whether it's Ethan Klein or iDubbbz, like the woman in the situation is so much more unlikable and says things that you would definitely be more likely to disagree with.
I disavow the
I
insinuation
would
that
never-
you're making. However, you
I'm
are
just
correct.
saying. It's just recognizing. It's just recognizing. I can't say the other version of that word.
even co-sign that. I was disgusted.
I can't say the N word right now.
Bro, please.
You said the N word. I can't say it though.
I did not say it. Did
It
not
was two
say
different
it.
N words.
Didn't happen.
Two different N words.
By that
Fake news.
statement too. I remember
never
when
said
he
it.
called her kid the spawn of Satan.
I never said anything.
And
like
I was
that.
supposed to be like cheering on, but I wasn't going to cheer that on. That's
Why do you
disgusting.
forget that he called her children, which is something we would never do, the spawn of
Never.
Satan?
It's disgusting.
And
a
I
piece
mean,
of shit of a human.
it's just incredible who ends up being the good guys in this story. You know, it's really something.
Unfortunately, they never made a statement. They never said that they disagree with his statements about Trisha's baby until it's useful. Like, what is it, 3 years later? Like, I mean, you're talking about it like you were aware of it at the time and that there was some amount of pressure or enthusiasm for you to get down with that. And what it sounds like to me is that you did see it at the time and you were like, ooh, I don't like that. And you didn't endorse it and you didn't fuck with it. Huh. It's almost like that is a fucking identical situation to me.
It's just incredible who ends up being the good guys in this story. You know, it's really something.
So yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up is because they're trying to like paint themselves as the good guys, and they're saying like, yeah, we strongly.
If you saw iDubbbz on the street outside of a gas station, right? He doesn't even have to be sitting down. He could be standing for all we know, right? But just this tooth, those tattoos, the way he dresses, sometimes has the long hair, especially if he has the long hair, even with the short hair, if he was like bald or something, you know? Who are you going to think this guy is? You think he's going to ask you for some cash?
Are you saying he looks homeless?
I'm just saying if he looked like somebody, it would be the kind of guy where he's like scratching himself a lot and, you know, looking for quick few bucks for something. Very much needs those dollars. Is urgently awaiting his next cash influx so that he can go spend it immediately on his fix.
On platinum vodka?
Yes, on platinum vodka.
About things that are said, even about our enemies. We are the most immoral people on the internet.
You know, also like on the whole platinum vodka thing, I mean, like I have tasted it before because my old roommate, he had some. He said like he bought it because it was cheap, and I think he offered me the rest because he was like, man, it tastes like rubbing alcohol. He wasn't wrong. It was quite literally just like, I don't even know how that homeless guy wanted to drink it, but I guess if you don't have any other option, then of course.
And imagine it's not about enjoying it. It's about the end goal. And it probably gets you there a lot quicker than the ones that taste better.
Fair enough. But, you know, even so, if he can't get it down, I mean, he probably could, but if he can't get it down, how are you even going to drink it all? I guess you got to up your tolerance to it.
Unlike Ian and Anissa, who are fucking keeping to themselves. Also, why the fuck does Olivia get the pass?
What a fucking asshole for putting you in that position, Olivia. You're friends with him, and you don't have to say anything. But like, what a fucking piece of shit. What a bad friend to put you in that position just for some fucking clout. I guess people
I wonder
angry.
why Ethan keeps looking at his own hands like that. He's like flicking them and looking at them, like flicking the wrist and like looking back at the hand.
Look at that flick of the wrist.
You like, oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total bullshit. Okay, Olivia did not do anything, and
Dude, he's like flopping his hand around. I think Ethan's got a little bit of the tism.
On the pass?
I think of that one video I saw a while ago where a horse like crashed on like the ground and it tried to get up, but every time it would do that, its front leg would collapse on itself. And then like they would look at the flick of the wrist music on that. Yeah.
I have to be an employee to get that treatment because then you'll just see me as an ally? Or is it because Ethan is afraid of wrongful termination accusations and lawsuits?
And also, I don't mind putting my friend Olivia, who's apparently my real friend, in a terribly weird, fucking uncomfortable situation where you end up getting hate for no reason.
Also, don't frame it as like other people making it hard on Olivia. You're making it hard on all of these people. Please acknowledge your role in this whole fucking thing. Like, it's crazy how warm Ethan is to Olivia and saying how Olivia is essentially just a victim in this whole thing.
It gets people angry at you, like, oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total bullshit.
But me and Anissa are spineless. Ethan, your whole system is scrambled. My intention isn't to throw the employees under the bus. Like, you guys serve as the fucking foundation for calling out Ethan's hypocrisy on the whole subject. And I know that you guys have probably pushed back against Ethan over the years. How often are you supposed to do that? Do you have to do that every fucking week? It kind of seems like it. And that's exhausting. I don't want to confront my boss. It's not my fucking job to confront my boss and say, today's segment on rapists and pedophiles on Twitch was not my favorite segment to be a part of.
Yeah, friends like these.
He needs chapters on these content cops too. He needs chapters on these. Like,
thing to be watching in
are there
terms of
timestamps somewhere? Because I feel like we're watching a whole lot of nothing. Someone said this ain't a content cop; it's a therapy session. How do you mean? Like, it's a content or it's a therapy session for Ethan or what? Because honestly, I don't think iDubbbz is the most level-headed guy here. All I'm getting from this so far is that Joji is the one who truly won. I mean, he makes fairy music, but he's not in all of this.
You're making it worse, man. Like, the video
This
alone
video makes me
the fact
realize
that they're
maybe I'm not as chronically aligned.
The fact that they're not like censoring any of the red button words, and then the other thing
Yeah.
that happened, which I deny, this is not good.
This video makes me realize maybe I'm not as chronically online as most people. Okay.
I agree. I don't know what the fuck's happening, to be honest.
Oh yeah, and our other good friends,
Yeah.
Anissa and Ian. Thanks, Anissa, for standing up for your girl. I actually stood up for you so many times because now you just.
For anyone unfamiliar, the Irish have been on the receiving end of a lot of oppression and genocide. On the part of the Lebanese, they've received a lot of oppression and attacks from the IDF. So Anissa is very well familiar with the propaganda and the shit coming out of Israel. Choosing now out of all
Anissa, my girlfriend, my wife, my partner, my partner, Anissa.
No.
My partner, Anissa, is so well informed on this geopolitical situation. Okay. But to her, still abortion is more important than this. I'm just going to put that out there because, women's issues are more important than any war ever can be. Okay. But my partner is so smart. She wears the pants because she deserves to.
Why would you say that?
the time to be like, please defend me. No, we're not going to fucking defend you.
Rudy was saying that Palestinians are taught at 2 years old to kill Americans. Do we have that one?
Like, because the other day,
No,
BB fired
Hila is
a
definitely
really good guy
though,
that a lot of people are pissed.
more in support of a certain cause as opposed to Ethan might what Ethan might be, at least how he's like presented his opinions over time. Hila is I don't know if she's changed on it, but I don't think Hila has ever really been as fond as Ethan of the Palestinians.
I wonder why. I will not speculate on that. It is
Well,
a valid question.
Yeah.
We're not.
Rudy was saying that Palestinians are taught at 2 years old to kill Americans. Do we have that one?
How can
like,
you be
'cause the
taught
other
at 2 years old to
BB
do that? It's like a kid's nursery book. It's like, oh, these are the Americans. Now here, this thing. This is a bomb. Son, I'm gonna teach you how to wire this thing. Oh, we teach good.
BB fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
He looked mean. I thought he was mean just because he looked mean.
No, it's not.
So yes, you caught us. We're not going to run to your defense when, I don't know, we follow people. We be following.
There's like a a playset called My First Bombing, sold at what's their version of Walmart? I mean, they don't like have walls, kind of crumble, but Rebel Mart, the first bomb set at Rebel Mart.
You get to know what
That's
it
one
does.
fucked up
right
thing that
there.
you can say about.
Yeah. Well, they don't really have anything to blow up either, so they kind of just gotta rely on their abilities.
Is when we're on Twitter,
which makes them probably more refined than anybody.
we do be following.
So
the problem.
Okay, if you want to hang out with those people and have no spine and not stand up for another girl that stood up for you, enjoy your new friends.
She's friends with people like Denim.
I know. Yeah.
Which I'll
she's
show.
friends with
Denims
Denim.
is actually participating.
Over half of the current and former employees follow Denims. That, yeah, I don't know why. I don't even know why. Why would you follow that chick? I don't even see the purpose.
In this whole child protective service lie.
Yeah.
Which I'll
And if
show you
you're
guys.
friends with them, then you're seeing what they're saying.
You'll notice that Ethan and Hila start talking about this Denims character. Originally, the complaint was about my former editor. He's been chatting shit about Ethan and Hila for the past year at least. They only care about it now because I guess it was spoon-fed to them via their Reddit that's clearly looking out for them. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We are friends with Denims, but I would say it's the same level of friendship that we had with Ethan and Hila. It's like kind of an internet friendship. We think that she's a good person. Like,
stop the cap.
We think Ethan and Hila are good people. Kind of a tricky situation. How can you possibly think that they're both good people at their core? People can have crash out moments. People can say things that they don't mean. People can say things because they want internet clout and attention. I don't know. I think they're both probably guilty of saying things that they don't mean for internet clout and attention. Right now, one's a little bit more fucking nasty to me than the other.
I just don't see how you can be my friend and also be friends with.
Jesus Christ, dude. We're only 20 minutes in, 21 minutes in to this.
And it's been over.
I'm just like, I'm really just like, it's not even that. The fact that like we've been talking, it's so repetitive, dude. He's not getting onto anything new. Why is this an hour? Why is this a thing? But why is it also an hour?
It feels very aimless. Like I'm
Supportive
waiting
to
for
say,
a
"We
great
don't agree."
big point, and I'm not getting it. It's just a bunch of petty shit so far.
Yeah, let's check out something later in this.
I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me and my wife on your podcast twice. I would be fine with you not brigading my comment section on my podcast that gets 3,000 views a week because I prefer to not to do harassment campaigns and instead talk about Vampire's Kiss.
Like they say something like he doesn't work for me, and I strongly disagree, and I support
Vampire's Kiss. What is that?
Ethan and Hila. The problem is
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Is that she doesn't.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
She actually.
She thinks they have a point.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So go fuck yourself.
I agree.
Go fuck yourself. What about your girl? This is what I'm talking about. This aggression that you're putting out into the world. What the fuck do you think we're gonna do? You think I'm gonna fucking sit on my hands when you do this shit? Like, this is nasty. We had such a fair.
This is nasty. Okay. I need to skip more.
I will say-
he's just like re-talking about some shit.
I will say Hila's definitely going for the throat unnecessarily. I mean, maybe again, I don't know the context of when she's saying this, but she's really, really lighting a fire. So, I mean, I would be upset about that too.
No, it doesn't look good on Hila's end for sure. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they have a good idea of your feelings about Hassan.
Like people like Anissa are the perfect example because she's friends with these people. She's friends with Denims. Denims is streaming this story about our
I'll
kid
show that. Yeah.
getting Giarda from the dog, whatever.
I mean, this part's true. This is just outright true.
I'm sorry. I'll accept this take, this position.
And actually, let's focus on this because now he's talking about it. Now he's talking about the relevant part.
From anyone except you guys. You have laid the groundwork for this type of streaming, which is watching people's shit and giving your unfiltered reaction to it. Why would you expect Anissa, of all people, to say something to Denims? Okay, so by that logic, we should be saying shit to you guys all the time. But I have a feeling you guys wouldn't like if we said shit like that to you all the time. Yeah, we've been respecting you as independent content creators. You can do what you want.
Yeah, man. It's kind of crazy that you want us to talk to somebody that we're also friends with about them supporting you having CPS called on your kids. That's crazy.
Say that again.
We'll treat you as adults. Maybe we shouldn't have been treating you as adults.
She could say so much, and it would make her a little bit uncomfortable, right? It's not comfortable. She'll get a little bit of shit.
Yeah, just for
But
saying
that would be
which
commendable.
And by the way, it kind of speaks for itself that saying, hey, their house is claimed, they're they're actually good people, like that's gonna get you shit. That kind of says it all, doesn't it?
There isn't a single
Yeah, that too. Just talking to her about, like, if you know them pretty well at this point, like, hey, maybe some of what you're saying here isn't accurate, and we can just clear the air here so that you don't keep misleading people into thinking this is the case. Yeah, I don't even think that's unreasonable.
person that I respect who would give a fuck if I publicly said that Ethan and Hila are great with their kids.
Not even publicly. I think that was more so just like on that end, at least. I'm not sure what maybe they did want a public thing, because it seemed like Ethan was expressing that earlier. But from what I heard in that clip, it sounded like they were just saying talk to her one-on-one. Right? Like, so, I don't think that's really a problem if somebody's out there supporting this actual harassment against you, having Child Protective Services called on you, trying to interview your kids. When these people know, Ian would at least be more knowledgeable than the average person who doesn't have access to their home on whether or not this is happening. Ian and Anissa. So you would think it wouldn't be the biggest problem. It would actually help things, and it would actually help Ethan and Hila, from having this wrongful doing against them, if they told Denims, hey, this thing that you're talking about right now, and especially, it's a big situation. So, yeah, this thing you're talking about right now, it's actually not accurate. I know them, and this doesn't happen at their house. So if you would like to, maybe clear that up for people so that they don't keep doing this, that would probably be good, because we don't want anybody to be facing this in any community. No, apparently that's not something you should be concerned about. When you have relations to these people, apparently not.
Kids, Ethan and Hila didn't kill their dog, and Ethan and Hila wipe their asses or don't have giardia or whatever the prompt is. No,
I don't think Ian's getting it. I don't think he's getting what the point of that is. Like, when you have these things happening against you, obviously this is a stressful situation. And if you're actually friends with Ethan at this point, because you're saying you're friends with, like, your friendship with her now is what it was with them. I don't know if over the years you didn't actually get a closer bond or anything, but it would seem that if you actually cared about their well-being, that you would actually try to get it cleared up. This specifically, maybe you don't have to go, like, there's no insinuation there that you have to go out publicly and start talking about this. It would help their case. But again, it's like, don't you think that this is something that you should be doing for a friend that you genuinely, like, if you do care about your friend, do it for the friend, because it's like, maybe you don't want this happening against anybody in your life?
Maybe.
Apparently. Humvee says, I'm going to blow.
one would care. The only person who would care is me, because I'm like, why did I tweet this out? I'm not tweeting out because I'm not your fucking lapdog. That's why I'm not tweeting it out. I'm not saying it to my audience because I don't give a fuck. It's not my business.
That's, in my opinion, doing something that's difficult. And
again, it's just when it's already gotten to the point, not accusations made, but when it's gotten to the point that there's people coming to investigate this stuff, like because of what people are saying about you, it actually does make sense to stick up for your friend. If you do consider him that. I don't know.
Standing by your principles. That's the whole point. That's what makes standing by your principles admirable, is that it's not always easy.
Why are you saying that I'm not standing up for my principles when you don't even know what they are?
Yeah, honestly, iDubbbz's principles aren't even something I'd want to follow. So
I get, like, we're a little bit past directly naming me, so we might have gone off on a tangent. If you maybe accepted the phone call and we talked about it, you could have asked me, hey, what are your principles? And I can tell you the way I've been behaving is exactly in line with my principles. Now we're going to talk about the BDS list. We're going to start off with Frogan because obviously this is like as bad as it gets. If you're following Frogan, that can only...
Frogan? I thought he was saying Rogan, like Joe Rogan. Who the fuck is Frogan? Apparently that's Frogan, but... Huh?
It'll be funnier if it was Joe Rogan.
Yeah, honestly.
Jamie, that video of Ethan saying some weird shit.
That you're anti-Ethan. Oh, this is not a good start. Love of the H3 podcast. You are following Frogan, so that means that you are anti-Ethan. Sam, Morg Pie, friend of the show. Olivia, Ian, Daily Dose of Internet is anti-Ethan. Jesus, this is fucked up. Pokimane, comment etiquette. Oh shit, Asmongold's in here. Asmongold follows Frogan. No, Asmon. That means you're anti-Ethan. That's fucked up. We're going to want to avoid these creators at the top of the list, but one tier below them are the creators who associate with them. They're essentially endorsing all of their statements. You got me, you got Anissa.
Jesus, dude, why would you use that? Why would you get in that makeup, first of all? Then why would you use that photo of yourself in a video? Jesus Christ, man. You look like you're trying to be your girl there.
Hassan's in there. You'd think that Hassan would be on the top of the BDS list, but that's not the case. Hassan provides additional value for people. Ethan can turn a blind eye to people collaborating with Hassan because that's what he did. You got to be the lowest of the low to be associating with the Frogans and the Denims of the world. To associate with Hassan, that just makes sense because he's famous and he's got a massive fan base. Also, Ethan still follows Hassan on Instagram, so Hassan is in his feed.
And that's showing up right up on Anissa's and iDubbbz feed.
It's important to remember that this is a living document and people can be removed or put onto it depending on
I don't know who that guy is still.
how Ethan's feeling
I mean, I know Sam Cedar. I just don't know the guy below him.
that day. You have this other tier of creators that exist below Hassan, but are still anti-Ethan. But Ethan really doesn't want to bring your attention to these ones because it's kind of unpopular. You know, a lot of
Theo Vaughn. What did Theo Vaughn do?
them are famous. It's no coincidence that Ethan stays silent when these powerful, popular men
Me, nigga. What did I do?
are supporting Hassan. It's because Ethan is a coward.
Huh?
Who are these other two?
Dude, I don't even know.
He's a bitch-made coward. I think Ethan has an unreasonable amount of respect for these comedians because they have power, they're quick, and I think he knows that they don't fuck with his ideology. But he's going to keep that to himself because the last thing that he wants to discover is that people that he respects and looks up to, they don't fuck with him.
Bill Burr came on. It was like the worst fucking show. It was just horrible. That was like my lowest moment on podcast history. We could talk about Bill Burr, ruined my life. Bill Burr made Ethan go on Lexapro. I was prescribed it and it was in my bedside. And then it was the Bill Burr episode that made me finally start.
When Stavros goes on Hassan's stream and he mocks your content nuke,
I actually saw a really interesting video about you, man.
Stavros, I don't know.
And I don't know that I'm even comfortable being here anymore.
This guy, no, I don't.
Man, you're like living under a rock.
But I mean, I've seen him. I just, like, don't know
Who's on
who he is.
Cumtown?
I don't watch Cumtown.
Well, that's your problem.
But also, he's not doing himself any service with this appearance, unless that's intentional.
It is not a flattering appearance at all,
It-
especially when he's like next to Hassan. It just does not.
He
look
looks
good.
like he wants to go visit a kid's park. I'm just saying.
Disavow.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. Stereotypically speaking, this is exactly what you would draw.
Oh no. It really kind of shed light on you in a way.
Yeah.
You kind of like have leftist politics and stuff like that. And I actually feel betrayed.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually just here to let you know this is the last time I'm ever coming.
you don't
He's ever coming? For real? You're gonna swear an oath to that? Never come again?
fire
Does it count
back
if it's
because
like
you're coping.
nocturnal?
So you're just going to tuck your tail between your legs and never mention
You get one pass.
One pass for life.
on your podcast.
Yeah.
Damn.
That mentions everything. You're bringing up some fucking connection I have on Twitter. Someone mocks you on a stream. You're not touching it. Fuck you. You're a coward. It's just his job. It's just what he does for his job. He doesn't mean it. We're actually good friends. He makes fun of everyone. It's not just me, right? Oh, also, I can't forget about Matt Lieb. Matt Lieb is in this like middle tier. His
I don't know who that is. I've heard of him. I don't know who that is.
manipulate, he can send lawsuits to. And I want him to know that we're not going to be bullied. You're being a piece of shit and we're going to call you out.
So here's the button. You've got a video and you've got an audio. We're hitting both. Let's leave. Yeah, there's no need. Yeah. I don't want to. Oh, shit. Like, how
I know I'm skipping around, but what is the significance of the button? We're gonna see, I guess.
Of all the things,
Anywho.
It always surprises me what you think crosses the line.
Well, I looked at Olivia and she's like, yes, do it.
Now let's talk about the button. Ethan got this button, or kill switch, as a response to the controversy with Cutie Cinderella. He was not able to control himself in that moment, and instead of figuring out how he could change his behavior, he spent $20,000.
Damn, dude, 20,000 for a button. I don't think you need to spend that much.
Like, we would kill button that right now if we could. I can't change who I am.
I know. That's why I can present.
What am I looking at?
The Jordan crying thing?
I hit the button.
Why?
I don't think I needed to, but you guys were giving me crickets, so I panicked.
If he's insecure about getting something wrong, he's hitting the button.
But okay. You what? Button for that? What on this frame could Ethan have responded to? Perhaps the country flag that he got wrong? Maybe. I don't know.
If he goes on a problematic tirade, he's hitting the button.
Before, look how sad. But yeah, it's not just that. Like their eyes are like big. I think you guys are wrong on this one. I think you guys are all wrong on this one.
I don't think he's unique in hitting the button. I think if all of us had buttons, we'd hit the button all the time. But if you don't have it, you operate differently. You think about what you're saying. You maybe plan for your show a little bit more. You maybe say, I'm not going to have my podcast be an emotional dumping ground for today. You instead say, ooh, it's important that we stay on topic. Also, the H3 community and Ethan himself use the mode all the time to is a lot of his behavior or
Hey,
is like uncontrolled state.
this is not all right. This is not all right right here. This is not acceptable. We've got Mr. Humvee saying, all right, I'm out. Peace. How can you comment that?
First was Goblin mode.
Do not call myself
This-
Goblin mode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Goblin mode? Is that what you're calling
This
threats
is
now?
like, what-
Goblin mode. I would like to.
What's the point of saying the button right here? Oh man, you're hitting that button because otherwise you'd be. I mean, there's only so much we can watch at this button before we get the point, dude.
nightmare right now.
I'm standing by every fucking.
Like, I guess this is like one of the better criticisms, if anything, still, even though it's like repetitive, just because, I mean, he's like talking about the point of like, okay, Ethan is, not really watching what he says here, but I don't know, like, if we could really say that's even a problem aside from the fact that you might get censored for saying something as opposed to necessarily what he's saying is going to be the problem. I mean, obviously there are just things you don't say because, people's perceptions of you can be influenced by that even beyond just what we consider like, oh, that's racist or whatever, or something like that, to say something. But, instead, like from the perspective of, yeah, man, maybe you shouldn't say these things about somebody that you know personally, because obviously that person's going to take offense. And if you keep saying these things, you can't really take that back. This person's going to remember you said that, stuff like that. I mean, like, yeah, sure. I mean, you don't have a filter at all. We all need a filter to some extent. I mean, there's things we should just filter, but I mean, I guess that's a more valid criticism out of this. But again, it's like, you're just making it so drawn out, dude, dragging it.
A syllable of that. Okay. What she did was abhorrent. And by the way,
just dumb. Listen, your critique of her is correct. It's just, people are sensitive.
I skipped probably like 5 minutes ahead and we're still seeing clips of him using the button. We get what the button is. We get what your criticism of the button is. Maybe come up with something else to say or stop talking about it.
It's uncalled for.
Use they get Ashes to cover most of it.
doing it.
What are you
Making it so
doing?
awkward and terrible.
I'm sorry, I'm not
Just like
It just seems like he's trying to drag it on purpose. I mean, dude.
it's not that big of a deal, man.
Just
Like,
your
how
inability to.
No. Hold on, Sam. How does it change anything? People knowing that we did it.
It's fun when it's a surprise.
Okay, well,
Well, you just asked how it changed
Surprise
things.
them on your show.
Okay. All right.
I understand that that's his role, and he's, Ethan's made that his job, or Dan's made it his job. Ethan leans on it so heavily. In the same way that he leans on the button, Ethan is leaning on all of these people to be adults and look after his behavior and give all of this emotional and empathetic energy for Ethan, but Ethan refuses to give it back to them. Also, let's talk about.
I mean, that's just kind of like, that could be a character of the show. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying Ethan is a character, but kind of everybody is kind of a character when they're an entertainer. So, I mean, like I could see this. I mean, like, maybe you don't want to be promoting that kind of behavior, but it's still, again, like, obviously you can be making yourself out to be somebody that people don't actually want to be, I guess. I don't know, man. But
I think that's actually a valid criticism.
one iDubbbz has right now.
Yeah, he does it all the time. It seems like he surrounds himself with yes men, which to an extent a lot of people do. but at the same time, it does come off like they're his handlers whenever he says something that's like fucked or does something that's fucked. But they still like they do it in a way where
he's
it's
like this with them off stream?
He probably. I mean, I wouldn't think so, but at the same, I forgot who I watched the video on.
Well, I was just gonna say it feels like kind of somewhat he's overplaying it to be a character. At least that's how I'm viewing it. I don't know.
No, that's not a character.
I don't watch enough of him to know this.
Because it's like consistent, like all the time, which I guess could be argued is all part of the character. But nobody, you would see slip ups, you'd see like things where it's like a little break of character. It's all the time.
Right.
I
There
don't
would be
believe
points where he'd be like, "Come on, man, we can't do this." Like, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, like, I could see the argument being like, I just don't think. Well, I guess it is a good criticism from iDubbbz in the sense of like, he's kind of telling them you gotta, even though iDubbbz himself doesn't do this, kind of like gotta man up. But in the sense of like, just don't be such a baby, I guess, or don't be so like purposefully irresponsible, because you know who does that? Women.
Bro, we're so far in the hole already. Why would you?
You digging at me? You know who does that, guys? Bitches.
AB and Lena, 2 Lebanese employees, and you just continue to talk about the conflict like they don't exist. It would be nicer, a lot nicer, for you to shut the fuck up about it. You're allowed to do that.
Hezbollah in Syria alone killed double that much.
Well, hold on.
All right, I'm gonna move on. I just want to play a song talking about bad empanada.
Because there was a clip I think we had even shown it here. Yeah, we did, because it was the one where, well, I don't know if we did or not, actually. Either I watched it right before or we showed it on here and then I mentioned it again, but it was basically about Ethan saying like, oh, well, I think actually, what was it? It was having to do with like like who's responsible for what deaths or whatever, basically like of Arabs. And he was saying, I think it was, like those same groups versus like, you know, the country. And then like he was wrong about it. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that actually, you know, I'm okay either way, because it's actually wrong either way, you know, with the results, you know, not okay with it. But basically I'm like, okay, admitting that I was wrong, because it wasn't about making out these organizations to look as bad as possible compared to that, you know, as there's some unique evil compared to both just being bad. You get what I'm saying? Like, you know, it didn't seem like he had too much of a stake, at least in that clip I was watching of him. Here, it could have seemed more like that, but especially if you cut it up like this, I still think like maybe he did have somewhat of a different position here versus there. I don't know, but it just seems like the cutting of it so rapidly is playing into that.
Yeah.
Ethan doesn't want to change, and he wants to bring the entire crew down with him because he's putting them in this position every day, right? But it's more important that he gets this shit off his chest. It's more important that he dumps. We're all familiar with Goblin mode. Well, Ethan debuted a new mode recently.
And by the way, my ratio is pretty good.
Damn, dude, did he like lose weight and get fat again? You said recently? Did he like regain weight?
This has to be older.
Yeah, because he said recently.
Like I'm looking at like 20 Goblin modes to 1 too far. Demon mode, let's call it.
What makes Demon mode different than Goblin mode is goblins aren't really like an intimidating, powerful.
Whoa. Chill out, man. Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Oh, man.
Force. If the goblin is persistent, it can get what it wants.
When I'm done with the other one, the big one that's dropping probably next week, my full attention is going to you, George. Like the Eye of Sauron. I see you out there, you fucking cockroach.
Ethan, the reason the internet got behind you when you were being sued by Matt Haas or when you were being sued by Ryan Kavanaugh is because people saw you as the underdog. They saw you as the guy who's defending the common man.
I'm suing, and I cannot wait for you guys to read it. At the moment, we are writing 3 complaints for 3 people.
You are doing the classic rich asshole thing. You have a deficit of friends. You have a surplus of enemies. You feel really bad. You feel hurt, but you also have a surplus of money. So what can you do? You can use that money to bully and intimidate people. These public legal threats that you're making to fellow creators, these legal threats that you're making to people on Reddit, on Twitter, you're like, I'm hurt. These people are hurting me.
I feel like he should have been leading with this part. Like, why are we 45 minutes in before we're actually getting like, or 40 minutes in before we're getting some valid criticisms? Why did it take 3/4 of the video to start giving us something that was worth our while that is telling us why he's actually a problem for the community in your eyes. And perhaps even, I mean, factually, if we're understanding this right, and it is true, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if this all adds up, if you can substantiate this properly, it seems like this is the part where you're actually calling him out properly. Did this have to be an hour? Could you have just maybe condensed the part where you were talking about this other stuff and not just rambling on, dragging it?
What do I do to stop it? There's nothing I can do to stop it. I'm powerless. No, you have a ton of power. You have a ton of options. You have a ton of choice. That's exactly what you get for being filthy.
Dude, I hate that tooth. I really hate that tooth. It doesn't look right. Looks like he has a missing tooth or a black tooth.
Be rich is you can do all of these things.
I've never want to sue someone for defamation, but like at what point do you kind of fucking have to? I mean, this is like basically someone calling you a pedophile. Be like, yeah, no, Ethan's a pedophile.
Dan Clancy or whatever, like the CEO of Twitch.
Jesus, dude, again, the egg is like jump scaring me.
And being
pedophile. Dan KKK Clancy has a similar view of Hitler because Dan Clancy, the Nazi, fucking anti-Semite. There are certain things you can accuse people of that rise above to make it like actionable, which is like wrongfully accusing someone of being a pedophile, a sex criminal, a murderer, shit like that. Dan Clancy now, in other words, he is a pedophile.
You have so much less to go off of saying that
Oh
than
no,
anybody has about
based
Dream.
on his looks, just on his base.
Well, at least you're self-aware.
That's 100% a joke. I have no evidence to conclude that he is.
One of the more notable legal threats that Ethan has sent out recently is against Noah Sampson.
I have nothing but
Jesus, why would you dye your hair just like straight jet black, like looking like your shirt, dude?
Vibes to gain and potentially your money as well.
He looks like he's trying to be Robert Downey Jr., honestly.
Right.
Don't worry if you don't have it all now. I'll garnish your wages. You're going to be living with your parents for a lot longer, buddy.
But the hair being that black is just like, it's just unsettling because that's not his hair color.
26, you know what I mean? Try 46.
Noah made a video that was critical of Ethan and other content creators when they're talking about Israel and Palestine. I mean, the way he's talking about Noah on his podcast is so fucking creepy and weird.
Is this a new thing?
This is a new thing. This happened during the show. Upon initial examination, it seems to check out, and it's not great.
Dude, Ethan has these like this stim, dude. This fucking like shaking the hand and looking back at it. What is going on in bro's head?
For young Noah.
Is this some sort of like, are you aware if that has anything to do, at least on your end, with because you were talking about when Destiny had the whole jaw thing, had to do with like amphetamines. You think this has anything to do with that?
I wouldn't jump to that conclusion because I think there's like evidence that Destiny does do that. I don't think there's any evidence for Ethan doing that.
Well, I'm just saying, is there any connection with that behavior in that? Not saying Ethan like, you know, is doing it by saying that. I'm just saying like, what could be the cause of it?
I would think it's just his Tourette's. And he's probably under a lot more stress than usual. Like, because like the other thing is he lost weight, but he doesn't look like healthy at the same time.
I was thinking that as well. I was looking at him and I'm like, well, he looks like Robert Downey Jr., which again, Robert Downey Jr. Doesn't look right. So, I mean, especially, I don't know if he stopped being vegan or if he's still vegan.
That boy ain't right.
Yeah, neither of them looks like healthy underweight, like, or healthy weight. They look underweight. They look like, you know, skeletal. Yeah, I'm gonna stop that there.
Good.
Say that. Don't say it yet.
Don't say it.
So he's a rape. So of course his standard.
Why would they leave that word in?
I don't know what he's accused of, so I'm not actually going to say. But
Ethan brought on a former partner of Noah to basically just shit talk him and say that he's a bad partner. But that's all.
I also forgot Ethan had Tourette's.
When he says partner, he means business partner, right?
That's what I thought.
I really hope that's what he means.
But anyway, I forgot Ethan even had Tourette's.
Yeah, it's like been his thing. The eyebrows. I never forget the eyebrows.
No, dude, I forgot.
All that Ethan,
you know what I never forget?
was able to extract out of it.
you are not accusing him of committing any crimes or doing R word or anything like that. The accusation is that he's a sleaze.
Absolutely. Noah
Yeah.
Sampson, as far as I know, is not a rapist.
Fuck you to Noah Sampson,
Dude, what is on his face?
who's not just a liar and a scumbag, but also a creep.
What is happening?
Allegedly.
Now let's talk about the left-leaning Democrat.
He presents himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things.
The thing that made me start to question Ethan's intentions is that when he was suggested to talk to Sam Cedar, a fellow progressive, a guy that Ethan respects and looks up to.
He works with Sam Cedar. at the Majority Report. I respect him and what they do there.
He kept saying that it was racist or anti-Semitic to suggest that he talked to someone who's within the same ethnic group as him.
That's why I said yesterday, like, I urge Ethan to talk to Sam Cedar. There are very thoughtful, very kind anti-Zionist Jews out there that he could talk to. I don't think that I will be able to reach him.
What's the insinuation that I only listen to other Jewish people? You need to talk to my pre-approved list of Jews that like agree with me on everything. You know, it doesn't matter if they're Jewish, dude. It doesn't matter if they're fucking Jewish.
I think most Jews.
I don't think Jews at large view it. I don't think that is the.
In what position are you to even say that?
It's not motivated by myself. It's motivated by Jews against anti-Zionist Jews.
Seriously, how can you speak for my entire ethnic group? I find that really interesting.
Ethan, I don't know what to fucking
No comment.
This is actually a
tell
good
you.
point.
This is like step one of having a
No comment.
leftist ideology is recognizing.
Hold on. You don't have to make a joke out of everything. We can still talk about that. Like, I mean, it's very clearly relevant to bring that up in the case of a country like Israel because it is like de facto tied to an ethnic group. And it's kind of like impose or assume that, oh, well, if you are part of this ethnic group, you ought to or you automatically should support this nation, which isn't necessarily the case, because then that would be a form of collectivism, which within itself would be kind of a form of racism, depending on how you define it. So, I mean, this is actually a pretty good critique. It's not like if I said something to, like, I don't know, like, let's say it was some black guy. I'm like, oh, well, I know a black guy that actually talks about, like, police brutality. It wouldn't be, like, racist or anything for me to say that because it's very clearly an issue that affects this group of people in a way that's, you know, contrary to what, like, other people would see it as. So it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for me to say, oh, well, it's not really a race issue in the way that you're thinking, where it's all white people thinking this way and all black people thinking another way. I know some people that are of your same group and they see it a different way, despite you making it a thing about groups. So it's maybe you didn't have to bring that up, but it's not like him bringing it up is racist within itself.
Right.
Our race, religion, nationality, all this shit, all shape our experiences as people.
That's the reason why it'd be better served to have this conversation, not with myself, but with an anti-Zionist Jewish person.
Why does it matter if they're Jewish?
Because I'm not Jewish, and you've said in this conversation that, like, how can you tell me how to feel about the situation?
Yeah, but how is one person of representative of?
Yeah. So, I mean, like, again, the point which Greg made is valid. Like, and just to carry on with that, it's like, basically Ethan was saying, or I guess he's saying, like, why does it matter? But if he's saying in that same light, like, Hassan, like, you can't talk to me about this because of who you are. Well, if you present him with somebody that can understand that in your eyes, then, I mean, it seems like, you know, that would be somebody you're more receptive to, and thus it does matter, at least in your perspective. Like,
Assuming
obviously there's relevance to Ethan.
Yeah, assuming this isn't taking out of context, like he's setting up the rules and then Hassan is fulfilling the rules he set up and he's like, well, why does it have to be like that? It's like weird. Right. It's like why would you put the fence there if you had no intention of using it?
Probably, you know? Cognitive dissonance, because like I feel like that's a similar problem with, like, I mean, you know, I guess not necessarily with all the progressives, because they may just take only the first position where it's like you have to be of this group to talk about it. But then it seems like Ethan is trying to I guess in the best way to put it, make it seem like, I guess, to his audience, you know, whether that's his position or not, because of his ethnic origin and how it's viewed in relation to the country being discussed, that Ethan wants to make it seem like that this doesn't really matter to him. But at the same time, it seems like it does, you know?
Yeah.
So he has to play kind of these sides simultaneously, because on the one side, it's like literally the progressive mindset is, again, it's like you have to hear from this person saying it. So Ethan's thinking, well, we do have to hear from a person that, you know, is of this origin, because they're the ones that'll represent it. At the same time, it's like, well, but it shouldn't be relevant because there's no relevance in that connection.
Of Jews at large. I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret that phrase.
So yes, Ethan, on occasion, you might be suggested to talk to.
And again, he like, then right after he's like, this is how our people interpret this. This is how, So he's still thinking from that collective mindset, which I mean, like, obviously, you know, not a lot of what Ethan is framing here. I mean, if you're part of the progressive movement, you're not going to be thinking individualistically in a lot of ways.
Right. Which is why the whole Palestine thing is kind of, it's a fucking, I accidentally muted myself while I was talking, but it's a whole mess in regards to like left-leaning politics, because you can justify both sides really using the ideology they operate from.
Yeah.
Someone who has some crossover with you. It doesn't have to be your ethnicity. It could possibly.
And I mean, honestly, that's probably why Ethan is saying both things, because in his mind, he can't differentiate which one he's supposed to side with due to the fact that like he just has this contradictory ideology.
Be someone who shares progressive ideology with you. It could possibly be someone who is of your same gender. I think Ethan
your same gender? Bruh, shut up. Bro, that was just too much, man.
understands this concept very well. He listened to these women on his show when they told him that he shouldn't be calling women bitches.
This bitch is intolerable. You are such a nasty fucking bitch, Ken.
I don't know if you can call her a bitch though.
She is a bitch. She's a fucking. You're right. I call her. See you next Tuesday.
Listen, I'm curious what do Lena and Sam think about it.
I wouldn't be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that it's for the girlies.
Nauseating. He's not a child. He is absolutely capable of looking into Hassan, learning about his politics, interviewing, doing loads of things to figure out where he stands.
He presents himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things. And for the first time, I noticed an inordinate amount of radical, hardcore leftists. I mean, I thought we were social democrats, not whatever this was. This comment from Hassan really started to sound some alarms in my head. I was already getting uncomfortable with our partnership. I started to wonder if I had any idea who this guy actually is.
You made how many episodes with Hassan? Like, this guy made a fucking program with the biggest mega leftist on the platform. Now he's acting like he was tricked and he was incapable of figuring out what this guy's beliefs were. Bro, I didn't make the fucking leftist program. You did. You made fucking, what, 60 some odd episodes of this shit for hours talking to this guy? You didn't have a problem with any of it until, Ethan talks about being aware of Hassan's 9/11 comments and then sort of leaves it at that. Like it was just a joke. Actually, I think Ethan describes them as edgy moments or jokes.
You might remember him from such classics as
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
Now, to be clear, I knew about all these edgy and controversial jokes at the time.
Like you went a left field.
Yeah, honestly.
Time we made the show together, because who am I to judge?
No, Ethan, those aren't jokes, right? When someone makes a controversial statement like that, that's not them trying to be funny. I can understand why you would conflate the two. That is someone who is extremely frustrated and passionate about a particular topic. In this case,
is iDubbbz insinuating that that was a good statement to make on YouTube?
Well, let's not like start, robbing the intention of what he's saying. Basically, what he's saying is it's very clear that Hassan wasn't joking. And I think anybody.
I know, but he was saying, but the way he was saying, like, oh, well, you could see why somebody would get like, emotionally charged and make such a statement and not be joking. So it seems like, I'm not saying iDubbbz supported that statement per se. I'm just saying, is iDubbbz saying that, is that an okay statement to make on YouTube when you are in that emotional state?
I think you're stretching it.
I don't know, because iDubbbz has a big filter on what he likes and doesn't like. So I'm just wondering here.
I think it's pretty
American imperialism.
Based on what the statement is, it's very clear that it will be emotionally charged, especially given the circumstances in which Hassan is, living in America and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was trying to say any kind of like value judgment on what the actual content of the statement is. Whatever it is, it's not really relevant to what he's saying here.
I mean, I definitely see the validity of what you're saying. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's just the fact that he's following it up with this just makes it seem like there's something there, but it would kind of be an assumption more than necessary. Or I guess like you'd have to take an implication into account rather than like any sort of even really like reading between the lines, I guess.
I mean, you got to take it within the context of what he's talking about. Like he's criticizing Ethan for all of a sudden being like, what? He supports Palestine? When that's very clearly, I don't think anybody that supports Palestine is any way like, subtle about it to begin with. But then like it's Hassan, so he makes content about it constantly. He made a statement like that and apparently Ethan knew about it, at least to some extent.
Yeah.
So the context is it's very clearly not a joke. I don't really know it in good faith if you could really smuggle Ethan's own feelings on that statement into that.
No, you mean iDubbbz.
Or yeah, iDubbbz.
Yeah. Well, so it's not about the fact that iDubbbz, like, I'm not saying any of that was about iDubbbz sneaking in feelings. I was saying the whole, I want to listen to exactly what he said one more time, because the way he said, like, you know, the statement he gave when he said, like, the emotionally charged statement, that part was the part that sounded like anything to me. If it was just, if there was nothing about that right there, I wouldn't have even thought this. It's just that kind of sparked something.
It's not them trying to be funny. I can understand why you would conflate the two. That is someone who is extremely frustrated and passionate about a particular topic.
Yeah, that is someone who is extremely frustrated and passionate about a particular topic.
Yeah, passionate is not a value-based adjective, though. Like,
I'm just thinking, like, whenever you hear somebody say this person is frustrated, especially coming from like a person on the left, you're thinking like, well, it seems like they're almost saying like, we understand this person's struggle, you know?
No,
like
because they say the same thing about incels. They say they're frustrated, but they're not supporting that.
Well, I don't know, man. I'm thinking like whenever you give a statement about the emotion the person's feeling coming from a progressive, it seems more so that they're like justifying the reason somebody would get to that conclusion, as opposed to somebody that they disagree with, where they wouldn't really be talking about why that person feels that way. They would more so be saying like, man, this person has hateful views.
To an extent, I see what you're saying, but I don't know if that's universally applicable.
I mean, I know I might be pulling more out than there is. It's just like, generally speaking, like when you hear like leftist rhetoric, that's kind of how it comes across. Like when they say something, you know, maybe they'll add a little bit more in, but if they're saying like this frustrated person, you know, has like a lot of like, you know, I know you didn't say a lot of reason, but like this person's frustrated, this person's passionate, this person's I'm trying to think of another good word here. This person's like, you know, tired.
Adding another set of adjectives in there. So now the way you're portraying it, it will seem like that. But he just said it was passionate and frustrated.
No, I'm just trying to think of an example of how like somebody that, you know, is phrasing it like that would use adjectives that are similar, and you may not say at face value they have any sort of value judgment, but they could still seem like they're implying something else. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I still think you're stretching.
Okay. I guess that's fair. I don't know.
Even then, like, even if it is a case of, okay, I understand where they're coming from. By the way, I disavow. I don't support this. But speaking like as devil's advocate, even then, you could still say, like, assuming that your interpretation is correct, they understand, but those doesn't necessarily mean they sign off on, okay, if they feel like this, they must be doing this. Like,
I also don't know, like, what did I guess we can't really go into Hassan's statement here, but it's more so, I guess the only question I would be asking that I guess is safe to ask is like, when Hassan said that, was he talking about as well? He said America.
Don't.
But I'm just saying the civilians themselves, like, is he saying like that part didn't matter?
I wouldn't imagine you would say that.
That's all I'm wondering when he says something like that. Like, you know, because obviously you could take that different ways. And obviously I'm just saying, like, you know, contextually speaking, they're different in the position. I'm just thinking like, if he has no feeling of like, well, I feel bad for the civilians or something, then that could be like, I mean, that is a major problem actually.
Okay, before we continue, just to clarify, neither of us agree with Hassan's statement in any way, shape, or form.
No, not at all. Not even 1%.
I don't know why you said that. I don't know why you said that. Please stop saying that.
In this case, American imperialism and terrorism. You could have looked into that. You could have talked to Hassan a little bit more and found out what his international politics opinions are.
That part is fair. Yeah. I mean, I would definitely want to, like, if I knew Hassan, I'd want to ask him about that and like clarify. And,
it's not even that though. Like, you don't even have to dig. You don't have to dig that far to get, like, if you have someone that's on the far left like that, you can basically just assume they're pro-Palestine to like an extreme extent until proven otherwise. I don't know why, especially if he's familiar with these kinds of people, because he claims to be in that kind of headspace in terms of politics, why he wouldn't already know this.
But we've like seen like Ethan as of late, like it's been like, you know, he's been talking on his show about not being like anti-Palestine. Like he just didn't agree with like, cause I mean, at least from face value of what, when they were talking with one another, I don't know. I didn't watch the whole content nuke, I'll be real. But, and also it still seemed like Ethan necessarily didn't just change his position outright on that after leaving the thing with Hassan. But I'm just saying what I could see was that when Ethan was talking with Hassan, his major contention was like, well, I don't think like the kids are militants or anything like that. Or like, you know, they're like, you know, they're the same as the adults or anything like that, you know? Or was it, no shit. It was, what actually was it? It was not militants. It was settlers or like whatever, like basically like, saying like, you know, the bigger country that the kids are guilty as well there.
And Hassan said otherwise.
Yeah. I forgot if it was militant settlers, what it was called, but basically the fact that like, you know, obviously there are two sets of people in that area and, you know, there's contentions that Hassan has with a certain group of people there. He's saying that even the kids, like there's an issue as far as like, you know, them being there as if there's some sort of liability on them as well. And Ethan just disagreed with that.
Even then, though, like, again, ultra far left, publicly about it, too. I would just assume as much extremity as possible in regards to the Palestine issue, because anyone that's in that camp, for the most part, goes all the way, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Like, unless it's like an average Joe that doesn't really give a shit about politics to begin with, that's usually what you're getting. You're either getting strong support for Israel unconditionally or strong support for Palestine unconditionally.
Wow. If only, you know, you could just have a sphere in which people don't just dehumanize children. I mean, that would be great, no matter who the children are, because children are children. Kids are like nothing like, you know, whoever has an ideology that you may disagree with. You know, it's just ridiculous that either side would be like that. I mean, obviously they're trying to win at all costs, whoever it is, but you know, even the leftists where they're calling CPS. Let's see. So we have Mad Dog saying these clips are extremely chimped. The reason Ethan says he knows how, you know, certain group of people feel about this phrase, iDubbbz leaves out the phrase.
I'm confused.
Yeah, I need a little bit more context there, but I can see your point still, because even we were still pointing this out from the beginning that iDubbbz definitely like clips this so much to the point where it's like you can't even tell the full context of what's being said, even though the part where we were just watching with Ethan and Hassan talking, where it seems like, you know, Ethan was saying like contradictory things because of the progressive ideology that he has. It seemed like there was an inconsistency there. I mean, it just outright seemed like we couldn't find a consistency, probably even if we watch more. It just seemed like, because we got a pretty, maybe not full position, but just, you know, somewhat of a more better understanding of what he believes. And you know, honestly, it just seemed like he doesn't really hold a consistent worldview. But we have Humvee saying he got a second win, so he's back not even half hour. He came back 15 minutes after. He's like, I got a second win.
He probably had a Red Bull.
Well, I don't think he has Red Bulls.
Why can't you just let me have this, man?
I'm
He
sorry.
probably had a Red Bull.
He had a winter edition.
He found the last one. It was just like
He found the
glowing.
last one at his grocery store or his gas station. He's like, I need this. Dude, if
It's
I
like-
found one, I'd be in heaven. I'd literally be in heaven.
It's like that meme of like the Fortnite character finding like the golden gun or whatever.
We need, well, I don't know, because again, this might cause people to buy it out, but we need winter edition to reach the popularity level of the white monster so that we can have it year round.
I mean, that white monster could not touch the winter edition. Just
It
saying.
couldn't. It's not like the winter edition is better. Dude, I've tried the white monster. You've tried the white monster. Pause. That did not come out right.
No, bitch.
That was not right. I'm just going to continue this.
But you wouldn't even need to do that. You can look at it online. You're not a victim. You weren't tricked. You made 60 some odd episodes. If you didn't want to go down this route, you shouldn't have done it. But that was your fucking choice.
That's fair.
Did it. You are an adult. When Ethan and Hila are watching Matt Lieb saying that one state doesn't represent all Jews, they cannot wrap their heads around the idea.
No single person represents all Jews.
I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret that phrase.
No single person represents all Jews, as no single state represents all Jews.
This is another weird thing.
Oh my God.
Israel. This is a lie that I see Hassan and people pander. They say that Israel's going to war on behalf.
And this looks like a more recent clip because Ethan's like lost the weight, so we could probably see a more recent position from him here.
Of Judaism. They have never. I don't believe that that's ever been. This is another weird thing.
Oh my God.
Israel.
And of course, Hila says that.
This is a lie that I see Hassan and people pander. They say that Israel's going to war on behalf of Judaism. They have never. I don't believe that that's ever been stated, and I don't think Israel ever explains that it's like. I think Israel says it's a place where Jews can go.
Israel is just a place Jews can go. With that slogan, we might actually have peace. You know, if that's all you're defining Israel as, is a place Jews can go. Like, sure, it sounds like America to me. Like, all right.
I mean,
I don't think that Israel said they represent all Jews.
Like, if that's all it is,
hey,
that's like literally any country besides, like, I guess Palestine, if that even exists anymore.
Well, the Maldives.
You know, displacing Palestinians is all Jews.
Yeah, they've banned travel now.
Well, isn't it specifically
Like,
Israelis?
officially.
So, I mean, granted, it would suck if you're Israeli, but I mean, you could be like a New York Jew and go to the Maldives, I'd assume.
I feel like, I don't know if they'd differentiate that there.
How would they even like know that? Would they have the meat? I'm not gonna. Okay, anyway.
Jewish people.
Ethan is being so disingenuous here to suggest that he doesn't understand what Matt Lieb is saying. Like, like he's making a semantic argument. Like, I don't think Israel has said that it represents every last Jew on the planet. I don't think Israel has claimed that. They're not going to say that their most genocidal behavior represents anything to do with them, okay? But what they are going to do is they're going to inexplicably link Israel and Jewishness together. So when they're being criticized, all of a sudden they have the perfect defense. Oh, another thing I need to mention.
Yeah, I definitely can't make a comment.
There was a tier list. It was called the Who Can Say Habibi tier list. It was presented at TwitchCon as like a panel that was just meant to be lighthearted and fun. And Ethan Klein saw that, and he decided that it was anti-Semitic.
Tier list, and we're going to need your help to discuss and figure out who can say Habibi and who can't.
And also, like, we have tiers. We have Arab coded. They ask permission to say Habibi. You know, like you got like white guys like, can I say it?
Why is Habibi like nigga now? I don't understand. Like, it's, you know, you're not supposed to say Habibi now.
What if I'm learning Arabic? I can't say Habibi.
I feel like they're just parodying nigga at that point, and it's like, oh, you know, that's our word. Habibi's our word. You
See,
can
but
say
like,
Habib.
at least what I'm perceiving right now, it doesn't even seem like it's parody because it seems like they are genuinely, to some extent, annoyed by it.
Right.
Like, okay, if I'm in like Germany, can I not say Danke? Like what? Like,
Danke.
Yeah, I probably said a
and then
better
love
word,
Sabra,
but
which is they're not Arab coded at all.
Now, when I first saw this tier list, I immediately knew what it was doing. I was like, oh, it's a play on the who has the N-word pass and who doesn't.
Yeah.
Tier list. Granted, Habibi is very different than the N-word, but
Is it?
it is a cultural word amongst Arabic-speaking people
Yeah, because you're making a tier list on who can say it. I don't know.
and
so,
Muslim people.
What I'll say is, it does seem like it's a jest, but like at the same time, if it weren't to some extent like irksome, why would you even go through the route of making a tier list like that?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
to
it
some
questions
extent,
the
you
origin of
are-
it itself. Like, why
To
did
some
you pick that?
Exactly. Like, to some extent, you are categorizing it, given that like premise. So it's like,
I'm gonna put. I don't know if I should put this in the private chat or not before I say it.
please do, or already not.
Oh.
Yeah,
Dude, I really want to. Oh, dude, I'm just.
private chat.
You're gonna laugh when you see it. Can I say that?
I think that's fine.
It would be like, you know, instead of Habibi, they have to have something like camel jockey.
I like how the most like inoffensive. Well, I don't know. Maybe they'll like start chimping out about that. But the most inoffensive thing we said the entire stream is the one you're like, I don't know if I could say that.
Bro, because like I don't know, man. You know, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna send you another one, which I'm gonna censor because I probably might get banned if I just like on even StreamYard. I don't know, but like that one, I probably couldn't say.
Why would you think you could say that? Why would you think you could say that?
Yeah, can I at least say the first word?
No.
No, don't insinuate what I would say. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Like that
I think we've got
that
enough.
is a word that's used. Habibi. It means my
Camel jockey.
love. Oh no, don't do that,
We're
Habibi.
definitely at
Oh
our
yes,
limit.
Habibi. You're my Habibi. I'm your Habibi. So yes,
I'm about to blow.
it's meant to be a fun way that these Arab content creators can express their Arab culture and be proud of it and happy about it. Because it's not like
it's
they
always
have
been
massive
Arab.
representation on the platform.
Who?
Hassan.
Oh,
He's a Turk.
Making a
true.
tier list based on race.
Is he there though? Is he the one on the far right?
I thought that's who he was. Maybe it's not.
That doesn't look like him. No.
Nobody has a fucking problem with that. Okay, you have a tier list based on race. Where's the Jewish panel? Where's the Jewish panel? Where at the top it says Jewish. It's a tier list based on Arab to Jew. He's Arab, which is good. That's the best thing you can be on this. That's the best. This is this is racist.
What?
Okay, so Ethan's taking the bold position that anybody of any race can say any word, which I agree with. Not really. It's not on YouTube.
According to YouTube terms of service, I disagree. But in other contexts, I may be inclined to agree with that. However, why is he's like looking at it as if it's like a race tier list? How did you even?
It seems like Ethan is. I mean, if I'm gonna be real, it seems like Ethan, and I'm not trying to pull the race card or anything, but it seems like Ethan is very inclined. Is inclined to pull. This right here, where he wants to basically pull any example he can of anything even remotely seeming like the Arabs have some sort of racial supremacist idea of themselves, to put it in front of people and say, well, actually, the Arabs are racists. The Arabs are not, people that are fond of not, adhering to this genetic or racial or whatever determinism.
To be fair, because I got to do that. There are some that do, but I mean, it's kind of weird for you to just assume that from like a fairly innocent thing. Now, maybe he's like extrapolating that from the people that are there. I guess that's kind of, but even then, it's kind of a stretch. Like, why would that be the first thing you thought of?
Right. All I'm saying is that he seems to want to jump on any opportunity he can, even if it's not there, to make something out of it. And if there really were a lot of examples that were prominent, which if there were prominent examples, that would mean it's more influential, and thus you could actually criticize it more easily, then he would just point those out. I mean, I don't see the purpose of pointing this out. I mean, just go to an actual example and say, look at this. Isn't this crazy, guys?
I don't know, man. This is very strange.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to have to wrap this up and then get to our other topics, because I've been spending a lot of time on this content cup.
2 hours, dude.
I will say that
it's been funny just making fun of it, and also now making fun of Ethan as well, because there is nobody in this situation that is level-headed.
Okay. So far, it seems like the first half of the video did not need to exist. And then that last half, and unless he fucks it up somehow, is actual genuine criticism. So this could have been 30 minutes. I don't know why he made it so long.
Even though he was going in circles for like the first 15 minutes of that 30 minutes.
Information through a tier list is not the most effective thing.
I think it was at least 10 or 15 minutes that he was going in circles there as well. Like, it was until like probably, I mean, he started bringing up some of the relevant stuff around 30 minutes, but he was still like continuously just like playing clips that like, we already got the point, and he just kept doing it.
Yeah, like the button shit.
Yeah, the button, goblin mode.
I still don't
stuff
entirely
like
understand that.
He feels like he can't say something, I guess. Maybe he says it anyway once the stream cuts off, is what I'm getting.
it's kind of like I could see how that's a valid point. I think I did say it was a valid point before, but it doesn't seem like that big of a deal to bring it up in a video like this.
I mean, if you want to call him a man-child, call him a man-child. But like, you know, the whole like just playing clips of the button, it's like you can play a few clips and then talk about why it's a problem and then move on to the genuine problems that he has between him and his like crew.
So like I get he probably did that to show how pervasive it is, how it's like a common thing and it happens all, but you could have just said that it's very pervasive and like common,
and even
then
the
just shows
clip,
like maybe 2 or 3 clips.
even the montage before he started talking about the button shows how many times Ethan goes to press it anyway. So if you just played a few more clips that were full of him saying he's about to press it, then you make your point.
I'm about to blow.
But Ethan should understand this principle. He did a white slurs tier list with Hassan.
Cracker. I mean, you know what my thing.
Okay, well, I don't even think we should play that on YouTube.
Just skip over that.
But we evened it out now. Now that we played that one, we evened everything out for this stream. This stream is equal opportunity, okay? This stream is equal opportunity.
And is just proving his location on this tier list under Love Sabra because he doesn't understand Arab culture. There's a lot of Arabs who eat Sabra. There's a lot of people like me who eat Sabra.
We're going to talk about the fucking hummus shit, dude? I want to hear that because that chick that was talking about eating her hummus was fat as shit.
They say Habibi in Israel. Again, people underestimate just
I'm just being real.
How like mixed Israeli culture is. Like
we say Habibi in Israel. Yes, Ethan. Another piece of evidence as to why it isn't anti-Semitic.
This is racist.
If you're not Arab or understand Arab culture at all, which is a lot of Americans, and Ethan Klein presents you this tier list and calls it anti-Semitic, you're just going to eat it up. It's not. Ethan is just proving his location on this tier list under Love Sabra because he doesn't understand Arab culture. There's a lot of Arabs who eat Sabra. There's a lot of people like me who eat Sabra. A lot of the times it's all that's the store and I'm going to buy it and I'm going to eat it, but it is not the good shit. Like the average Arab American, they're going to go in the store and the only option they have is fucking Sabra. And that sucks that's the only option, right? Arab communities and distribution facilities are not widespread across the U.S. So
the Arab people are being oppressed in the United States because all they have is Sabra.
He's
what are they left with?
He's getting to an interesting point that I'm just not going to address. But I will say I've had Sabra and it does indeed suck ass compared to other hummus. Like I don't eat hummus anymore, but like it's not like restaurant quality. It's pretty shit.
I'll be real. Hummus is just kind of gross.
I mean, yes, but even amongst hummus types, like Sabra is like not great.
What spices do they put in it?
I mean, it depends on what kind you get. Like they have classic, they have garlic, they've got not garlic or classic, some other shit, but it's got like a sour taste. It's not very good.
Mm.
Like I don't know how much you got hummus, but it's
shitty
mostly
hummus,
like creamy. And that's
which
not
is
it.
Sabra. And what's so fucking pathetic about this whole thing is after he was able to get these Arab creators banned off of Twitch for 30 days, he goes on to talk about how bad Sabra.
Huh? He got them banned for 30 days? I missed that. Because we were going over, we didn't want to go over that white tier list.
Did you report their video or whatever for the
yeah, maybe
tier list? That's kind of retarded.
Sabra hummus is on his show.
It is.
I don't think anybody wants to prefer Sabra over homemade like restaurant.
Unless he's just saying the fact that he called it racist and then people went to go report it and Ethan didn't do it himself. It's still retarded that he called it that, but it's like, you know.
I don't think anyone, even if they were like hardcore like Ethan Sins, is that retarded.
Yeah.
Quality hummus. Like that's, you know, it's what's there.
Like weirdly fluffy.
It is fluffy.
Sabra. Weird.
Yeah.
I would buy it sometimes and eat it. It's not the best.
The problem is with Sabra, in my opinion, it's only good for the first 2 days.
For some reason, like when you eat this Sabra shit, it just feels so much heavier. And imagine eating a whole fucking vat of Sabra. That's crazy.
Yeah. I've never liked hummus.
Oh, okay.
Well, you hate Jews then.
I don't.
And Arabs.
Yeah.
This is racist.
Yeah, it's almost like you can have a discussion about Sabra hummus being a bad hummus without it being at all related to a Jewish thing or an Israeli thing. He can have that discussion as much as he wants on his podcast because we all know his intentions aren't anti-Semitic.
This is what he did. He hit his heart hard.
The Zionism is leading to not accepting other cultures, embracing their own culture, and instead thinking that that is an...
Dude, this is slop fest. I need to stop this. It took me 2 hours and 20 minutes to realize that I need to stop this.
It did.
Dude, it's just so. I hated a lot of that. I hated a lot, especially at the end. I couldn't take it anymore. Humvee says they don't call me White Monster in the sheets. Wait, they don't? You mean for nothing, right? Is that what you mean? He said yes, did he?
Now it just seems like they don't call him the White Monster.
Right? Okay. So what did we do, Mr. Greg? Not today. I'm just talking in general because we're kind of just done on that. We're just going to talk now. You're going to talk to her. I'm not going to say that again. But let's see. So fake out. Button fake out. Anyway, but yeah, this past weekend, we took a week extra to watch it, but we did talk about it last time with all the popcorn just being thrown around theaters. The Minecraft movie or a Minecraft movie has come out, and its second weekend did, I'm sure, well too, because it was projected to do really well. But yeah, no, we watched it. Honestly, if I'm giving a review, what my biggest criticism was, I can't give my biggest criticism, but my second biggest criticism was that the pacing was not good at all. I mean, it was the same director as the Nacho Libre. What is this, dude? Zen says you jorked it a bit and left us with blue balls. You were talking about not finishing the content. Dude, that was brutal. That was brutal to watch. I could not watch that.
How much did we have left?
We had like 10 minutes left. I couldn't watch it.
We might have.
I couldn't take another segment.
Well,
The Sabra made me lose my mind.
If it's that important, we could go back to it and just skip over the hummus. We get the point.
I mean, if you guys want me to go back, I'm going to keep talking about it until somebody says they want me to go back for real. But anyway, but basically, I watched the movie. The pacing was not good. The same guy that directed it was the one from Nacho Libre, but so there were some references to that as well. So that was like kind of cool, I guess. But like the whole if you don't want spoilers, I guess just don't listen, even though the movie's been out for over a week now. But basically, at the beginning of the movie, there's this kid who's the main kid in the movie, other than the main actors. And I mean, he's one of them, but he's in his classroom. He goes to a new school the first day, and as soon as he gets into the classroom, he's in some art class and he has to draw an orange and a banana, and then he draws the banana with a jetpack because he's some inventor kid. And then the teacher's like, "Oh, that's not a still life." And he's like, "Do you even know what a still life is?" And then the kids next to him are like, "What are you, some kind of rocket scientist?" And he's like, "Oh, maybe I am." And they're like, "Yeah, prove it." And then it goes straight to him building a rocket. This is all in the span of 2 minutes. You're saying spoil much? Bro, you watched it too. Anyway.
We should have had a spoiler warning, I think is what he's saying.
I did. I said, if you haven't watched it, I'm going to talk about it.
Oh.
And it's been out for a week already. You just weren't paying attention. But anyway, it's just so badly paced, as even Zen over here is saying. You think it would have been nice to finish up the content cop. I guess we could. I wanted to get to something else, man. We've been here for over 2 hours, just waiting for that to end. Honestly, some good points, I guess, were brought up later into the video. I guess we could go back to it once I talk about the Minecraft movie, and then we can talk about other stuff after.
You want to do the Minecraft, then go back to it?
Minecraft, go back, then talk about other stuff.
I guess we'll have to make the Minecraft quick, because if we just make it a long Minecraft thing, then go back, it's a little weird.
I guess we could just go back then. I don't know. But I did want to give a brief. Let's see. Nigga, no, skip that shit. What do you mean? The content cop?
Yeah, that
it's
was
half of the people want the content cop. Anyway, I'm sure most people want the content cop. I just want to go over some criticisms real quick. We'll get back to it. Then we'll talk more Minecraft. I just wanted to say it did feel badly paced. There was a lot of shit that just kind of get thrown at you. I guess as a 3 or 5 year old or whatever, 7-year-old, you're not really thinking too much about it. So it's whatever, but they're just going through I need to snap into the mic. They're just going through the pace, or I guess the steps of a movie so quickly until they get, first of all, the Steve monologue at the beginning was longer. Then they go as quickly as they can through the pacing of the steps for the average teenager experience. And then, and then it goes to them being in the game. Then you get actual story on top, that didn't have to do with these kids' drama and all that and stuff like that in school, which actually holds zero relevance in the movie. I'll be real. But anyway, so then you have the actual part you came for, which is all of them in Minecraft, and then I Am Steve and all that, chicken jockey, stuff like that. And
The
was a
theater
highlight,
did
by
not
the way.
erupt into chaos when that
The
happened.
theater did not erupt. I brought a kazoo though, and I blew on it after the chicken jockey. But the theaters are full of kids now because basically like everybody that was like going for the meme other than us went for the first weekend, and then theaters got really mad that they were doing that, and parents also got like, you know, they were very avoidant of it at that time because they knew things were erupting. So they're like, let's just bring our kids next weekend. So there were still people saying like similar stuff on, you know, the quotes from the movie, but I was the main person probably just sitting there doing it. Let's see. Mr. Zen says, me and Humvee are going to brawl. Do it. Let's watch it. Creator Clash. Chicken jockey.
I will say, basically, if you've seen any kind of child's movie, I don't know why I framed it like that, kids movie, any kind of kids movie in the past like 10 years, it's that exact plot on 2 times speed. With a few
right,
memes.
and even like during the movie, they just throw this little tidbit in where it's like the sister's like saying something about the brother. I forgot what it even was, dude. It was so irrelevant. But then he hears her, and he's like, and this was just thrown into it out of nowhere, and it's never brought back up because she says like, oh, something about him as a brother, and then he's like, basically like, oh, well, if that's how you feel, then I get it, and then they get separated after some like brawl, like in the village, but then it never gets brought back up.
It's like a check mark thing. Oh, we need to have some conflict between the two main characters. Oh, she says something he doesn't like. Okay, there it's. Oh, we're resolving it. Well, no, we got to get this other thing in. We got to get the fake out death in this movie.
Yeah, it's the cliche of him overhearing something that he wasn't supposed to hear, and then getting upset and going away over it. But it never gets resolved. They never go back to it.
It wasn't even that bad. It was like a valid criticism from what I remember.
Yeah. And so like it just happens over and over like this. And then even at the end, if you don't want it spoiled again, just don't, you know, listen to this part. Steve, Jack Black, he gives his dog Dennis that he tamed at the beginning away to this lady, you know, the one that isn't the teenage girl, the other one. And basically like, you know, the whole point was that you know, he's like, oh, you can go with her now. And it's like the real estate agent lady is what I'll call her. But she has like a bunch of animals at the beginning too. So I feel like they push that on her as like, oh, she has this side gig where she has a bunch of animals as well so that they could give her the dog. But it felt like
it at all.
Yeah.
Like,
well, she tamed the dog when they were like, cause I guess the dog got untamed. I don't know how.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
How did you know to do that? Like, oh, I'm good with zoo animals, so I knew how to do this. Like,
so like, here's the thing. So basically Steve at the beginning, he figures out he can tame a wolf with a bone. He does that. Dennis is now his dog. He gives Dennis like this core cube thing that he needs to get back to the overworld, like back and forth. He tells Dennis to take it and separate the cubes. I don't know how a dog separates two cube, like a cube from a case, whatever. It figured it out. I guess it tilted it over or something. But anyway, so basically he says like, you know, go Dennis, go. And then Dennis is still tamed at this point, but then somehow Dennis realizes that they're going into the game. So he comes back into the game, the dog, and then he's trying to follow them so that he can like find Steve. But then somehow he's like not tamed anymore when they find him in the woods again. So she has to give him the bone to retame him. But then he has the same collar saying Dennis that Steve originally put there, which doesn't make sense.
Somehow. I mean, that's not how it happens in the game, I'm pretty sure. But
no, it's not.
He lost his collar and then he became untamed. And then just so happens that exact wolf was the one that decided to attack the other characters. And she just so happened to know not to kill the dog or wolf, whatever, and to tame him with a bone that she just happened to have in front of her. Yeah. Like, it just kind of, it seemed like plot needs this to happen, so it's going to happen type thing.
Well, that seems pretty prejudiced of you that a white man could have figured it out and not this woman.
I didn't mention anything about race.
Well, but you're saying you didn't criticize Steve not being able to, or, you know, just figuring it out like that.
You are going to make me slip up again. I don't want to do that again. Anyway, what I was going to say is that's still stupid. There's no way he should have known that unless, I guess you could argue that he's been in there for long enough that he just figured it out.
He got his collar taken off. Yeah, that actually sounds kind of familiar.
But like,
but then why was he normal until he went back in the game if he was untamed at that point?
Also, I don't think it's accurate to call it a game. It's like a different
whatever the dimension, right? But like pretty much like how did the dog like get untamed while he was there by that lady, but then still know to take the cube out of the game and follow Steve's commands when he wasn't tamed, to then come back in following them because he knows something's wrong, to then almost attack them when he's in the woods with them as if he didn't see them prior. Now, I'm not going to say why he might have almost attacked that group that he was with, but you know, it's...
The other thing I was going to say is like they were just the two female characters were just getting done attacking zombies and skeletons and all that, like literally seconds before Dennis shows up. So why at that moment would they say, "Oh no, we're not going to attack this thing that's clearly meant to harm us"? And also, it hesitated for a while, which is also weird. Like, it just seems like so much had to go right because the plot said it had to go right for it to, and like it would even make more sense too if Steve was a bigger part of the plot and he was there with them for longer than when they got split up, so he could actually show them. Then you could have an excuse like, "Oh, he showed him how to do this." She could even say, "Oh, Steve showed me this trick," and it would be like, "Oh, okay, cool, that makes sense." But they didn't do that. She just knows how to do it for some reason.
You know, I wanted to mention something else, but I don't think I should. Let's see. There was something on top of like the Dennis acting, the reason he did, but you know, there's a real world explanation. We have Mr. Well, I don't know if this is a Mr., but you know, usually it's a guy, like I said, Kitaria saying, huh?
Kitarios
saying, "You guys popped in my recommended. What's up?"
Would it be?
Let's see. It was like he needed to grow up or something. Humvee said, "You mean the dog?" Or like, oh.
No,
What?
the kid, I guess.
The kid. Yeah, well, at the end, he just all of a sudden has a working jetpack somehow, because I guess he learned how to craft and mine. Let's Minecraft.
That movie was basically between the game and then one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, so there were so many inconsistencies between the game and the movie. One of my favorite parts is where Steve got Elytra without going to the end. Yeah.
What is that?
Well, how do you know he didn't go to the end though?
What is Elytra? I'm not
You
familiar
get the
with Minecraft.
like those are like wings that you get from the end.
Oh,
that,
okay, I see.
You use like the fireworks to like propel yourself once you've opened them.
Yeah, I've not played Minecraft enough to know all the game references.
Yeah, now,
I have
now
a
you can
basic
fly in survival. So,
but yeah, it was basically, hey guys, every other kids movie has X, Y, and Z thing. So just get all those things in there. I don't care how it happens. I don't care if it makes sense. I don't care if there's any kind of linear progression or character growth. Put it in the movie and put in some funny gags. We're good.
I mean, for like a kids movie, the gags weren't bad. I think like the humor wasn't bad. I would say
It was all right, yeah.
because
But
like there was like the drunk principal lady that fell in love with the villager, and then there was
that
like
didn't
the
make
part where
sense either. Like what?
I thought that was funny because she's like some drunk alcohol, like she's like some alcoholic fucking drunk driver that ran over a guy. That's incredibly funny.
That was strange they put that in there. I don't know why
It's
they did
incredibly
that.
funny, and she's like attracted to guy, like any guy she just meets. Like honestly, like it's pretty funny that they would put that in there. But then like oh yeah, the part where like Jason Momoa and Jack Black have to like fucking go man sandwich to go through that hole is pretty funny too.
That was odd. I didn't like that.
I thought it was funny. It's like they're uncomfortable with it, which is good.
Yeah, I didn't. There was no reason to put that in there.
No,
But
it's funny.
anyway,
I mean, it's a kids movie, dude. The kids find that stuff entertaining.
it was not funny.
Not the drunk like you know. I keep saying drunk alcoholic. You would be, you know, I guess drunk.
Yeah,
is
I know
just
you're. I know what you're referring to. I don't think it's funny.
Anyway.
But yeah, it
Anyway,
was a mid.
Let's get back to that content cop though.
I'd give
Let's
it
go
like
back to that.
a 5 out of 10.
What we do here is go back.
Unfortunately,
There was like 6 minutes, 7 minutes. Yeah, we have to for the audience. The audience is putting us through some turmoil, but it's okay. We do.
I
what
mean,
we
I
need to do.
think it's
We all-
valid. Like we should have finished it, but
Dude, I get like, you know, to a point where I can't handle something and I just quit, honestly. But
Medic?
This is what he did. He hit his heart hard.
back. This is what we see.
Is leading to not accepting other cultures, embracing their own culture, and instead thinking that that is an attack on you. There's this incident on the podcast where they were reacting to Cutie Cinderella, and Ethan was laughing
Hold on. Yeah, I had to stop my camera.
during it. So that ended up being a pretty important wake-up call for Ethan. He made an apology video directed at Cutie Cinderella, and it was graded. But Ethan got an A+ rating.
In terms of a public apology, this is A+.
Ethan won't stop talking about his A+ rating.
You know, he rated my apology to Cutie Cinderella a perfect score, a perfect 10.
A perfect 10 out of 10.
I'm having trouble like hiding the oh, there we go. There we go. Hold on. There we go.
10?
Literally 10 out of 10. Go back. I can teach you how to make a good apology. I'm the
Right,
best at
10
it.
out of 10.
I know what a perfect apology is, lady. You fucking don't. Is my perfect apology in this PowerPoint? Dude, I got a perfect 10 out of 10.
This one is actually best apology. So
Ethan Klein, you guys, oh my God.
I was trying really hard to think about an impactful moment during this video. Like, could I do something that would really wake Ethan up? And I don't know if this came from a good place or not, but I came up with the idea of getting Ethan's grade changed from an A to a B at least. So I went to visit psychology in Seattle. I'm not confident that Kirk will change his grade, but it's worth trying. And, you know, we might learn a thing or two.
Xander. Probably get pretty low marks. Unlike me, perfect score, 10. I said, hey, Lud, no big drama. Why are you such a spineless coward of a person now that you've inserted yourself and your girlfriend into this conversation?
okay, iDubbbz, I hear you. You're in the room with me right now. I hear you. I hear your request. I understand it. I can understand where it's coming from. And I guess have a policy that when there is a grade for an apology, I am just grading that discrete apology as I see it without taking any consideration of prior or future behavior. If you're wanting me to comment on the overall behavior or the recent behavior from the clips that you have shown me, I believe that Ethan is a good person and that eventually he will feel sorrow and will feel sorry and will apologize. And I will be there to evaluate that apology when it happens, which I know it will.
Oh, bro gave him the most nothing answer ever.
Brother, this guy stinks.
iDubbbz just did not give a fucking, saying that about the guy that he had on his show that agreed to be on there with him.
I will say that's valid. Like, he's grading the apology, not the shit after.
Yeah. I mean, like, and I get that too. Like, it shouldn't be about trying to get him demoted for something that was evaluated independent of these things. But I mean, I'm just thinking, like, from the way the guy is speaking, it's like, very much like therapist talk. And right. And so, I mean, like, maybe if the question were about evaluating something else about Ethan and he were willing to do that, we could have gotten a better answer. Even if iDubbbz was willing to perhaps put that forward instead of just trying to get a downgrade in something that had already been done. We could have perhaps gotten a better answer. But yeah, no, I mean, the guy's explanation of it was also just like very much like, I hear you. It's like, dude, get out, but but aside from that, like, yeah, no, I don't think he was invalid in what his intent was with that. Like, I'm talking about the other guy, not iDubbbz.
Unfortunately, Kirk did not change his grade, but that's okay because this is the internet.
And also that just kind of shows you that this is literally just about a gotcha. Like, Ian has not changed. It is about, and also, like, you could have, like, I could have seen the argument for some certain things, like, him actually making valid criticisms of people, and he even did here. But yeah, I mean, like, definitely from an entertainment perspective and like a views perspective, he's always digging. He's always digging for something that is like this bombshell that's not just going to make people realize how bad of a person this is, but also just like ridicule them or make them really look bad. So like this, for example, where it's not about, Ethan's actual behavior. I mean, it kind of like, you could say it is from the perspective of like, he's like, oh, well, don't you think you should take this character into consideration? But clearly here it was about shaming him. It was about embarrassing him. That's literally what that was. Getting an apology downgraded that has nothing to do with his other behavior. It's about embarrassing him. Which, I mean, you can't necessarily say that, he wasn't doing that this whole time with this, right? Obviously. But when you have him like knocking down Leafy or something, which even Leafy like had valid criticisms sometimes, even though like he obviously over exaggerated a lot of it, but sometimes it would be like showing how ridiculous some people are. And it's kind of like, yeah, that person's ridiculous. And it kind of makes sense why you said something. On top of that, you could say, okay, well, but Leafy, he's self-conscious too about how he is and stuff like whatever, and he's not like perfect. So why is he making criticism? But, at the same time, it's like, does that really invalidate anything Leafy said? If it was something like,
at the time when that
like,
video came out, I was in like high school or whatever. And when that came out, everybody's like, oh shit, Leafy's over. It's done. But now that I think about it, that isn't really a great criticism at all. Because it doesn't actually like address the issues you have with Leafy.
Yeah. And like,
it's just you're doing what he did to him.
Well,
now, that's all.
Basically, it was a whole anti-bullying thing where it's like, oh, look, Leafy's a bully. Let me bully him. He's going to get insecure. You know?
I'm going to say, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, let's say something like Leafy reviewing Joey's World Tour videos, if you remember that guy, where he's eating like straight up a Nutella jar in his car and like trying to whistle and choking on his own Nutella. Like, you're telling me that to make a video about this guy is like, you know, it's wrong or something when this guy's literally like over here, like, you know, offing himself with food. With slop.
So here's the thing. I don't actually think bullying is bad necessarily. It depends on the context. Now, the main thing I remember
if it's like an adult bullying a kid, that's one thing, you know?
That's what I was going to say. If the main thing I remember was that he was bullying kids, which is like, okay, yeah, that's a bit extreme, especially the way he was going about it. But if you're just like criticizing, and it's like, it's not like it even changed anything either, because a lot of people still criticize, like Tom Dark or whatever the fuck his name is, Turkey Tom. He does the same thing, but he does it in a more professional manner, basically. So it's not like the actual critique is the problem. It's who you're doing it to, which wasn't even most of what Leafy was targeting for the most part. So
all Leafy was doing was showing you ridiculous stuff and saying, dude, look at what this is. What the hell is that? You know,
basically,
and then just saying something about it.
He was giving you the like, you're hanging with your bros on a computer and you watch some crazy video experience.
Yeah. Are you telling me you wouldn't say those same things that he said like to your friends on a Discord call? Because come on, you would.
Yeah. I mean, the main issue was that he was like targeting kids. That's really the only thing I can think of. Maybe he was a bit extreme on like some of his criticisms, because sometimes he would go overboard and exaggerate things that either weren't as funny because they were like, I don't know, sensitive, or they weren't as funny just because it seemed like he was really reaching for shit. But like for the most part, outside of the like targeting like Jacob Sartorius and people like that, it wasn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. And I mean, so, I don't know, man. As somebody that was like in middle school, high school, I think around like it was high school around that time, like early high school to mid high school, probably. It was like, it didn't even seem that off, because it would be like the content he's watching is cringe, and sure, like kids are involved in all that. But like sometimes it would be like a, you know, like Jacob Sartorius. This is like some guy that's like being pushed as like, you know, oh, look at him. Look at what he's like the next Justin Bieber. Everybody hated on Justin Bieber. That wasn't even like that wasn't even like a thing people avoided doing back in the day. So what's the difference? I mean, like you can say, oh, we've evolved or whatever, but you know, come on.
I had like a whole Mad magazine that was dedicated to bashing Justin Bieber. That's like a big, like, well, I don't want to say corporation, but like a big company doing that.
Yeah. And so
like, what the fuck?
Obviously it was just pointing out that this stuff is cringe. We're not the target audience for like who would actually find him like, you know, an entertaining person, Justin Bieber, let's say, or whatever. Though Justin Bieber having been, you know, fondled by Diddy, you know, you got to feel a little bad for him about the people saying the shit's like gay and stuff, because he probably feels a certain way. Well, you know, but, and not Justin Bieber's butt. Diddy doesn't, you know, have that privilege anymore.
Anymore is crazy.
Says everyone hated Justin except Diddy. Yeah. But anyway, point being is like, you can't really like get Leafy on this, I guess, even though Leafy did get insecure, and that's what really brought him down. Getting insecure.
It was just reaction.
Yeah. If he had not gotten insecure over it, whatever, dude, nobody would have cared. Because like, again, it's like that was kind of the purpose of his content. And obviously, you know, it's content cop, whatever you make it fun. But like we pointed out, like there's only some issues with it as opposed to what iDubbbz is trying to make a point out here. Because again, it's like, obviously there's a reason we cringe at things or make fun of things. It's because it's abnormal. It's because like fucking you look at that and you're like, that's not right. Can we not do that? Can we not look at things and say that ain't right? That boy ain't right. Can we not do that?
Can we finish a video?
Anyone can have their own official apology rating system. So I'm going to rate Ethan's apology a B-.
Ew. Yeah, there's a lot of photos of Ethan where I'm just, he's like so like, I know like the way he looks skinny, like you could still say he doesn't look like perfectly healthy, but just the way he looked when he was overweight, it didn't really look that much better, if at all, if it even did.
I think in the earlier days when he had like more hair, that was probably where he looked the most normal. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know the exact era, but
yeah, that is true. He did look normal back then. Like we're talking like 2014, 2015.
Yeah, like he still looked overweight or like fatter, but like he didn't look, you know.
He just looks
Yeah.
like demolished here, like in this photo.
Yeah, I mean,
Decimated, dude.
it is an apology video, so I mean,
Oh, true. You want to be like black and white, like, hey, what's up, y'all? Oh man, rubbing your face, you know.
I'd like to see a Life in Scars apology video. I don't think he's capable of doing that, to be honest.
Is there anything else that surfaced about him since what happened back like a while back with his case?
I don't know. I haven't been following him.
I heard he quit streaming though.
Oh, I saw one clip on Instagram that I think either you sent to me or I sent to you, or maybe you didn't even see it because there's so much shit. But where he was on like one of those like dating shows, and he's like, "Oh no, you look like a kid," and he's like, "Oh," and he's like, "I didn't say that was a bad thing."
I know exactly what you're talking about. Now, like but I saw on his Discord server that they were announcing that he quit streaming.
So what's he gonna do now?
I don't know, man. Smoke a pack.
Sell a course.
Exactly. Yeah, that man will not be apologizing. I mean, it's funny. What he says is funny, but let's see. Humvee says, I have a 1/4 gallon of milk left, and I don't know if I should drink it all now or wait until the morning.
You should drink it now.
I mean, personally, I'd probably drink it, but then I'd regret not having any milk with me during the next day. Like, are you going to have milk later in the day tomorrow? Or are you just not going to have any more milk? Because if you're not going to have any more milk, I'd probably drink half of it now and half of it like tomorrow. I mean, I need milk. I need milk daily.
Bro, let's finish the video.
Whoops, I didn't mean to mute myself.
Yeah, why'd you do that? That was weird. That's my thing. You can't take my thing.
That's just based on my own feelings and my own rubric. When Psychology in Seattle was watching these video clips of Ethan, he said that it looks like Ethan could just use a hug. Now, of course, it kind of pisses me off to hear that shit because I'm like, what are we doing? What are we saying? He needs a hug? No, he doesn't need a hug. He needs a good fucking ass whooping is what he needs. I think something that's very important to me in bringing back Content Cop is to be fair. I think that was something that was not illustrated in previous Content Cops that I think should have been and probably wouldn't have left me with so much regret. Ethan deserves all of the criticism that he's getting. I think it's very valid. But I also think at the end of the day, we should acknowledge that he's human because he is human. And he is in a situation that's making him extremely scared, paranoid, defensive, sensitive, and I'm sure other features and feelings. In the spirit of...
Yeah, I mean, you should have pointed it out at the beginning as well. I don't know. I mean, I didn't really see, we watched most of the beginning and I didn't see that for the first at least 20 minutes or so. But you know, it's good that
I think it's
pointing
better
it out
at
at
the
some
end.
point, but how many people are making it to this point?
No, I think it's better at the end because that's the wrap up.
Why? Because you're giving your criticisms first to like not preface. I mean, it's
Because
just the whole thing
the
about
ending-
like he wasn't really.
So the whole point is the beginning is like a teaser for what's to come. And then once you get to the end, this is where you kind of take away the entertainment value and you say what it is, you know, unfiltered. Like, okay, this is all true. This is how he can better himself. But, you know, maybe he's doing X and Y and Z. And that's always how he's done the Content Cops. Like, first it's a teaser where you're like really going after him. Then you give him the shit. And then at the end, it's okay. I don't think he's the worst guy. Maybe you do. He'll give like his conclusion where he gives his honest reaction, how he can improve, and what he feels about him genuinely. That's on track.
I'm just thinking
Baseball.
like he wasn't. I don't mean exactly literally in the first few seconds. I just mean like when, for example, he was talking about that part where he was like, you know, I don't feel the need to back you up on Twitter or anything like that. I'm not going up against my principles. I mean, I feel like there should have been more of a mention there where it was like, look, guys, I mean, like, I understand why he feels the way he feels about this, even if you're not admitting that you side with him. You're kind of like, look, I mean, he is going through a lot here. Like, I get that, but you know, I mean, I'm just going to go into like more behavior about like why I still don't think like he's acting acceptably. Like, you know, I mean, I feel like you need some of that there because otherwise it just seems like, you know, you're not really giving, I guess, a full view of him in your criticism. So it's kind of like you're almost just making him seem as crazy as you can until you're not.
Listen, I hear you, and I've taken into consideration what you just said. But personally, I'm looking at the whole project here, and I think it's better at the end.
Okay.
That it looks like Ethan could just use a hug. I have challenged some of his most powerful haters to put down the haterade and just say something nice and charitable about him.
Because relatable.
I think he deserves it.
I just wanted to say that I respect that you are genuinely yourself on the internet. I think a lot of other people respect you for it as well. I think that's a big reason why people were drawn to your content in the first place. I think that's a lot of the reason why your employees chose to work with you over anyone else.
Ethan, I think it's respectable that you even begin this journey to leave behind the anti-SJW crowd and step into a more empathetic worldview. I know it's not easy.
Ethan Klein, I think that when you are being goofy, when you're being silly, when you are being lighthearted, and just having fun with your friends, I think that is when you're at your best. So I'd love to see more of that. That'd be sick.
I will be reading my letter off because I don't want to sound robotic. H3 used to be the sports figure that I used to watch.
You can't take this hummus lover, dude.
When it gets back to what I remember. You were one of the inspirations for me.
That's gotta be racist.
That's gotta be racist.
Creating content, so all this has stunk. I hope you really hear this, and I wish you the best.
I think Ethan Klein rocks a buzz cut pretty good, and I think he's got a good choice of facial hair. I think it's really cool what he did 8 years ago, fighting that frivolous lawsuit. That was pretty fucked up.
That is
fighting
false.
It,
That's
changed
not
it
true.
Better. And I thought that was cool because I thought it was like he was fighting for free speech.
I also see the dynamic of Ethan and Eli.
iDubbbz, don't cry here. Come on now.
Oh my god,
it's really hard to be a couple online and see people attacking your partner.
You know what? I sent you the thing from Twitter, right? And I saw this part first. I was like, oh god, and I totally forgot it was from this video. So I thought we would have made it through a whole iDubbbz video without him like doing the whole.
And dude,
man, it's crazy, man. Like,
yeah,
why can't he just see this for what it is?
It's rough, man.
Why can't he just see this for what it is? It's just
they're calling these
Joe,
guys
some people. What's this guy's name in the pink shirt?
I don't know, pink shirt guy.
That frivolous lawsuit, that was pretty fucked up. And fighting it, he changed YouTube for the better. And I thought that was cool because I thought it was like he's fighting for free speech.
I also see the dynamic of Ethan and Eli. It's really hard to be a couple online and see people attacking your partner, and it's like, okay, like if you come to their
Yeah, you didn't have that attitude during the video.
Yeah, now
what's it here for now?
You've got a point now because
yeah, bro, like he flipped 180 here. He flipped 180 here.
And always help them, right? Sometimes that makes it worse.
Actually becoming
and
a
I
woman.
have been
Flips 180 and cries when he does. Yep.
kind of slipping into a very unhealthy place where it's gotten worse and worse, and I get criticized more and more, and I get more defensive and more pulled up. A feeling of almost infallibility that I could take anything on. It led me to make a lot of mistakes, and then when I was criticized for those mistakes, then I would act extremely defensive and nasty and not really processing them in a healthy way.
Okay, I was gonna say this isn't as bad as people were making it out to be until the very last 2 minutes. Now it's over.
Let's see. The guy is bootleg Papa John.
He is though. I was also gonna say.
He says, "Holy fuck! I want to rip my eyes out. That was gay."
I was going to say.
Pink
that
shirt
must
guy.
be the most uncomfortable thing ever. Just sitting there on record watching some guy cry to you.
Yeah.
Like I almost feel bad for Pierce Morgan when he's had Jordan Peterson on every single time. He starts bawling his eyes out halfway through.
Dude.
But then the thing is Pierce Morgan, he actually he knows it's good for views, so he'll incentivize it. He'll start stabbing basically. Oh, really? Tell us more about that. Man, it's just hard. They're calling them incels. You don't know what it's like, man. It's bad.
Did you want me to show the Last of Us thing that you sent? Or no,
if
not
it's
that
quick.
One. Well, I do want to show the other one.
What was the other one?
The other one you sent. The one that was the Tinder or whatever guy.
Hold on, I gotta look through my messages.
No, I'm gonna show it, so we'll see it here. But
Okay,
it's
why'd you even ask?
No, dude, I'm wondering if you wanted me to show the other thing.
Sure.
The Last of Us one with the actress that has the
that's
head.
quick. Sure, might as well.
Might as
well.
I'm gonna show the other one first, though. I want to find that. So you're hungry or what?
Yeah, I've actually had a lot of sugar. So what I had a lot to eat before, and now it's just gone. And it's also 11.
Damn. Yeah, I brought an orange juice bottle with me for that reason, dude. I knew it wasn't gonna work out otherwise. Let's see.
I got salt water. That's
So
it.
I have gotten on to the sugar water grind as you have, where I'll just add salt and baking soda. I've been more finely grinding eggshell powder to try and have some of that too, so I can get some
It's
more
a
calcium
shame
when I'm not eating
that
milk.
you can't add baking soda and make it like fizzy water, because that would be amazing if I could do that.
Let's see. Wait, you said what?
Don't worry about it.
No, you said you wish you could add baking soda and make it fizzy water.
Okay, you heard what I said then.
I was wondering if that's exactly what you said.
That is exactly what I said.
But you activated now.
We've got 5 themes of geography.
You see, I was in a class where we added another one, so we had to like yell over 6.
Oh, she played, or your teacher, whoever the fuck it was, played the same video.
Yeah, but then we had to yell 6 themes because she added another one. I forgot
that's
what it
gay.
was.
That's
and
gay.
she's passed away, so I can't really figure out what the 6th theme was anymore.
Damn.
Let's see. Yeah, no,
you can't just ask
tragically
a
too.
classmate.
No, tragically passed away. I would feel wrong about asking a classmate. Let's see. Okay, so
Wait, hold on. What?
Okay.
What do you mean How does that have anything to do with you asking a classmate?
No, it would be wrong. It would be wrong. Anyway, so
How would it be wrong?
pictures folder or foider. I don't know, dude.
Hold on. You can't just like drop that and then just expect me to accept that. What do you mean it'd be wrong to ask a classmate?
I don't know, man. It's just, it's kind of disrespectful because she was the instructor, and to go ask somebody else, I'm kind of defeating her purpose in life.
Bro, she cannot instruct you anymore. She is gone.
That was her purpose in life, man. I can't just go asking somebody else about that.
Okay,
that
okay, hold on. So if I forgot like, one specific page of like my, I don't know, my Spanish textbook or whatever, and I was like, oh, well, I don't have the contact of my teacher, but I know somebody that was sitting next to me and I'm still in contact with them. And I text them, hey, what was that page? What did that look like? That was real funny, or that was real informative, or whatever. Is that like a sin against the instructor?
But is your instructor still alive?
Yeah.
Okay, so then there's your answer. It's not.
How is that any different?
No, it was a tragic passing away. I can't.
Okay, so if she's dead, that makes it different.
No, but it was tragic. It wasn't even like old age. It was tragic.
I mean, I don't really see how that has anything to do with it.
Undermining her like that.
How is that dude? She cannot, like, regardless if she's dead or not, she can't give you the answer. If you want the answer, you have a means to do it. Well, I'm just not supposed to do that.
I can't teach. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna get this comment.
No. We're coming back to this. I'm not.
We're getting this comment from Zen first because we need to answer this. We need to answer this.
We're coming back to this though.
We need to get to our other topics so you can go eat. Now, here's the thing.
I will take the hunger because this makes no sense whatsoever.
Here's the thing. Zen asks, what's the sugar/salt water for? So you see my friend. The most important thing in your health is keeping your metabolic rate up and your stress low. And the easiest energy source for the body is sugar, because unlike starch, which has a more profound effect, not in a good way, but just on your elevation of blood glucose for how long it does without going back down, how long it'll keep that insulin response going without any sort of clearance from your system, as opposed to sugar, which you take it absorbs easily, you use it for energy, and your blood sugar goes back down because and it's not about the fact that your blood sugar is elevated or not. We're looking at this more of like a symptom rather than a cause. The thing is, like, if you just look at it for evidence, the actual sugar clearing out of your system and not keeping your blood glucose elevated is showing us that the sugar is actually being utilized for energy well by the body, by cells. So the whole point is to keep cellular energy up, to keep your thyroid hormone up, because it's going to help when you're not stressed for your thyroid hormone conversion, which basically means like that you are able to activate the thyroid hormone, which is the thing that will keep your as well metabolism up, stress low, because the thyroid's responsible for that gland in your neck. And so sugar helps with that conversion. Sugar is just overall a great source of energy, just overall for the body. And you're going to keep your adrenaline low, so you're not going to have your sympathetic nervous system activated. You're going to be calmer, but still more energetic. You're not going to be wired and tired. Quite the opposite. But
I think
anyway,
you made this way more complicated than it needed to be. But
I'm
whatever.
I'm explaining. Salt.
You could
as
have
well.
just said it's anti-inflammatory and it's the most efficient energy source. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, but people dispute that because they have this negative view of sugar. So I'm trying to
Right,
explain.
but like, I
I'm
mean,
trying
you're not
make
going
the
to give
case.
them a lecture like right now. I'm just saying, like, there's an easier way to get the point across.
Anyway, it's anti-inflammatory.
Man, I'm out for blood today.
It's anti-inflammatory. Anyway, but salt as well, very good for lowering the adrenaline, keeping your aldosterone system from not being activated, which basically means, again, lowering stress. So yeah, see, even Zen appreciates the explanation that I've given. So it's very pro-metabolism.
It's valid. I'm just saying, I'm still hungry, but I still need to rock your shit. Pause on this really bad point you have on the whole dead teacher thing.
Let's go to Twitter.
No. Please explain to me.
We're gonna read this Twitter post over here.
How it makes any difference if the teacher is died from old age versus, I don't know, some.
You know what? I guess you're right.
I
guess you're right.
It makes
It
any
doesn't make
difference
sense.
for you to be like, no, I can't get that info from somebody else. Like, you, either way, you wouldn't be able to get the info from her unless you like tracked her down and stalked her like a fucking creep. So
No, you're right. It doesn't make sense.
I think you're just saying that because you don't want to go with it.
Yeah, I was.
I'm gonna remember this.
I was just saying that so that we can move on.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't have brought up a retarded point.
How's it retarded?
There's no reason why it should be considered some kind of holier like aspect. Like, it's just info. It doesn't really matter who gave it to you.
But you don't respect the teacher?
I mean, I don't respect public schooling to begin with, but that's a different thing entirely. And it doesn't really have anything to say about the teacher either. But that aside, it doesn't matter where you get the info from. You can still remember the teacher in a nice light. You can still respect her for teaching you the shit, having passion for the subject, whatever. Getting the info from that, if anything, is like, helping you remember that. I don't see how it's disrespectful if she died in a tragic way. Like, even if you made it like she died, that'd be a better argument than she died tragically. I don't understand how that's in any way.
Because otherwise you could have lived a peaceful life.
That's not even remotely related to the point at hand.
Passed on in a fine way and left your education for the rest of the world. And, if anything, at that point, when you ask another student, it would have meant that, this lasting impact that this person had is, being transferred in a respectful manner as opposed to undermining the
Bro, did you fuck your teacher or something? What the hell's happening? It is information. It is literally basic information.
Read this, dude. We're gonna read this.
No, nigga.
You won't move past it
because it's retarded.
You won't move past it.
You like if I said something stupid like that, you wouldn't let me just go with it.
But I didn't just go with it. I mean, we addressed it. What else is there to say?
I just want you to admit that it's a retarded point that makes no
Okay,
sense.
it's a retarded point that makes no sense.
I know you're just saying that to get over
Yeah.
it. This is really.
What do you want me to say else? What else am I supposed to say? I don't know.
I would like you to show me in some way why it makes sense, because you failed to do that. You really didn't.
No.
You're saying it's tragic, so she didn't get to live out her, like, that has nothing to do with you getting the info from somebody else.
Yes.
Like, if the teacher taught me something, let's say I didn't hear it, is it like a crime against humanity for me to bump my neighbor on the shoulder? Hey, what did she say? And write it down?
No, but
Is
she
that
would have
like
been
an
alive
issue?
at that point. She would have been alive
so
at
because
that
she's
point.
dead, it makes a big issue.
Yeah.
Okay. What if I'm a musician, for example, and I forgot this really crucial technique to this concert I'm about to play, and the person that taught me is dead? Am I just supposed to never learn that technique again and like fuck up my concert? Is that what's supposed to happen?
I mean, did the instructor die tragically?
Why does it matter if it's okay? Yes, they died tragically.
Oh. Well, you better remember that, buddy.
This is the stupidest shit I've ever heard. I just want you to know that. I've heard some really stupid shit. I think this is the stupidest thing I've heard the entire day, including anything in that iDubbbz video. This is retarded on a new level. Jesus fucking Christ. And I'm out of salt water.
Wow. Would it help you if I said her breasts were really nice?
Why didn't you just lead with that? Like, it doesn't make it any more true, but it, I don't know, it kind of softens the blow. I guess, a little.
Okay, so then we can move on.
Like, you should have brought that up when I asked if you fucked your teacher, because that's basically what I was implying.
Right.
I don't know why you would respect that necessarily. That's more of like a lustful thing, if anything, but whatever. This is some weird shit.
Okay.
It's like almost simpy. It's like, I wouldn't want to do that. My Discord kitten wouldn't like that. She died tragically. Like, come on.
Okay.
It wouldn't be the same if I got it from you. She told me personally. This is fucking insane.
Okay. We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on.
It's like it doesn't have any impact on you mourning her death either. Like, this has nothing to do with that.
Why can't we move on?
I
Why
need
can't we
to
just move on?
get my point across to a point until I need to do what iDubbbz is. I need you to feel shame for saying something that retarded.
You need a what?
I need you to feel shame.
Mm-hmm. How can I do that?
I don't know. Me taking up 10 minutes of the podcast time when I already said I was really eager to finish it because I'm hungry, and dedicating my time to berating you for 10 minutes.
But all you've done is put yourself through pain.
It's not that bad.
Okay.
It's like I need to do it soon, but it's not to the point where it wasn't like last time where I was actually dying. See, now you're wasting time. You could have been looking at the cylinder thing.
But I have juice.
So that's it. She had a nice rack. That's it.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to look at this.
I feel like you're just saying that too.
What do you mean? I'm just saying that? That's not true?
It seems like that. That's kind of what's happening here.
No. Oops. I didn't mean to stop the screen. But no, I'm not just saying that. I could actually have I know people that could corroborate this, but I'm not in contact with them.
So let's say I wanted to see a picture of this broad. Would that be disrespectful for you to show me that because she died tragically?
Yeah.
Okay, that's still stupid, but that makes more sense than what you were saying.
Like, I wouldn't want you making fun of her or, like, judging her sexually or something.
Why would I make fun of her? Is there something to make
or
fun
judging
of
her
for?
sexually, like, evaluating her sexually after she's dead?
Okay. If you see a picture of Marilyn Monroe, are you not already sexually evaluating her?
Well, I didn't know her.
I mean, that doesn't really matter here. I'm asking you a question.
It does, though.
What do you mean it does?
It does play a role in whether or not you should do it, right? I mean, would you do that of like your grandmother or something?
It's not like something you decide to do. It just happens automatically.
Would you do that of your grandmother or something?
Would I acknowledge whether or not she's attractive or whatever?
Great grandmother. Let's go for that.
I mean, I can objectively determine whether she's attractive or not. It doesn't mean I'm attracted to her.
Okay. But like would you say like nice rack if that was the case?
I mean, I probably wouldn't say that. Like, there's a way to do it. Like, you could say, oh, she has a female figure or whatever. But that doesn't mean I'm attracted to her.
No, but like, what if it was like the breast specifically? What would you say? What would be like a thing you say there?
I mean, there's a way to say it, I guess. I probably would just say feminine figure.
No, like, but we're talking about the breast specifically here.
I don't know. Feminine bosom.
Okay. So you describe your great grandmother as having one?
I don't know. I've never seen her.
Okay.
I don't know any of my like grandparents or great grandparents. So I mean, if your example is trying to get me into a weird spot, it doesn't really work.
No, I was just wondering, like, what you would say
like,
if you saw a picture and that was what you thought of your great grandmother.
Okay, let's take this for example. You saw a picture of someone from like the 1940s or whatever the time frame would be for that, and you can evaluate whether she's sexually attractive or not. And then after you do that, someone tells you, "Oh, that's your grandmother."
When was color video invented?
Okay, this is getting retarded. Just show the fucking video.
Okay. Mr. Sands asking what's going on.
Autism.
Okay. Mr. Humvee asks Snow Berlin.
I mean, it's up to you. It's like 11.
Yeah, that's true. It's very valid.
I don't care, but I know you guys are weird about time.
No, Humvee, you don't. Oh, what women you were talking about?
Some teacher that he, I don't want to go through this again.
Right,
He
and
said
Greg's
something-
grandmother that he thinks has a
said-
feminine bosom.
I know what you're trying to do, and it doesn't really work because A, I didn't know her, and B, it doesn't invalidate my point.
1930 color movies, okay.
I don't remember it being 1930s, but I guess The Wizard of Oz was 1930s. I think.
Okay, so I guess like, you know, if I saw it in motion and I saw some motion in the rear and it
what are you
wasn't my
talking
great grandmother, then I would be like, yeah, that's nice.
See, even if you were going down that route, that doesn't even make sense because it's a teacher. It's not your great grandmother.
Well, I mean, my great grandmother actually had less influence on my life, if believe it or not.
This is such an arbitrary standard, dude. This is actually killing me.
Okay. Digging in you?
It is. It is indeed digging in me. You're Diddy now.
Okay.
You're the Diddy to the excavation process happening right now.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So let's take a look at this so we can go. But
Well, now it just seems like a chore. Jesus.
no, I want to take a look at it, but you were stalling so much that, you know,
Maybe we should just
postponed
save it for
it too
next
long.
time. It's already
But,
been like 3 hours.
No, I want to watch it though. Or
You can
not
watch it
watch
next
it, read it.
episode.
Sorry.
Read the next episode.
But I already pulled it up.
You can pull it up again.
I'll pull up this one and not the next thing. I'll leave it on this one.
I feel like the next one would be quicker.
You know, you're right. The energy isn't even there.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
It's it's too low energy now. We had that whole argument and that kind of like faded things, honestly. It made things fizzle out. That was
You
like the
could've just gave me
highlight.
a simple answer and it wouldn't have been as long as
It was
it
like
had
the
to be.
highlight. It was still a highlight. I would consider that a highlight of this stream.
Yeah, because you dragged it out for like some retarded reason. I don't know. Like you could have just given me an actual answer instead of like dancing around it.
So like you agree now that I've given you an answer?
Not really. Like you giving me an answer. It's not a good answer.
Maybe like partially agree?
No, not really.
No? Okay.
No.
Well, anyway, guys, that's going to be all.
Maybe I'll
for
ask the
tonight.
Turk about this.
Yeah, let's ask the Turk about this on the show.
I'll
though.
I'll ask
It needs to
both.
be on the show. Ask both?
Both.
Oh, both Turks. Yeah, okay, but we need to ask them on the show. Anyway, so
She's not gonna get on the show.
huh?
She's not gonna get on the show.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate because if so, that would be a pretty good show, I think. If that was
I think
our
it would be
leading
pretty
question. For
entertaining.
two Turkish people, we bring in two Turkish people and start, and you know, not even just like one guy, it's a guy and a woman, and we bring
Hold
them
on,
in.
hold on. It would be perfect though if we had like them and then like a Romanian and a Greek. Then it would be a perfect show.
Do you know any Romanians or Greeks?
I did. I don't know any anymore. And one of them might be schizophrenic. So
Okay. So let's see if we can do something of this sort. We need a Greek. I mean, a Greek has to be present with the Turks. That just has
I think
to.
an Armenian would be actually more important.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that does make sense.
An
But
Armenian and a Greek, maybe.
see,
Because
do you-
Romanians didn't really get the worst of it, but
Yeah. Yeah, you brought up Romanian first, but Armenian actually does make a lot of sense. Let's see the cockroach episode. Okay. Well, anyway, guys, that's enough for tonight. We've done enough. If this show stays up on YouTube, that's great because we didn't say anything really inflammatory tonight. We were peaceful. We were peaceful. We didn't do nothing.
I
Okay.
will say, in spite of all that, this is definitely one of the more fun episodes I've had.
This is one of
Maybe
the
because I
streams
wasn't
ever.
starving.
This is one of the streams ever.
You know, it's
Anyway,
funny you
guys.
bring that up because it's one of the streams ever of one of the
The podcast.
Well, now you added 2 articles, but yes, ever.
The podcast ever. It's the podcast ever.
Yes. That's true.